and we'll handle the rest, sending a top pro to get it done. Or browse reviews, compare quotes from pros, and connect instantly, all for free. For everything from routine maintenance to a dream remodel. Because however you want your project done, we'll get it done. Download the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com to get started.
American Airlines now digging deep to pay for a computer foul-up over the 4th of July holiday weekend. Technical problems removed about 1,200 pilots from the schedule. Now the airline says it will fork over triple pay to pilots who had to cover all those shifts. And British Airways now says it is cutting thousands of flights from its schedule due to staffing issues. The nation's highest civilian honor going to several Americans today at the White House.
The president will honor 17 Americans, including actor Denzel Washington, gymnast Simone Biles, former Congresswoman and gunshot survivor Gabby Giffords. Also on the list, civil rights attorney Fred Gray, World Cup champion Megan Rapinoe, and 2 honorees who've died. Senator John McCain and Apple co-founder Steve Jobs.
That's ABC's Andy Field. Baby formula from overseas that has helped fill the gap on store shelves across the country might be here to stay. The FDA now says it's working on new rules that would allow global makers of formula to continue selling here in the U.S. even after the current shortage eases. So how much would you pay for an iconic song?
The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind.
A studio recording from last year of Bob Dylan singing this song going up for auction at Christie's. Experts think it might go for over $1 million. It's the first studio recording of the song by Bob Dylan since the original in 1962. This is ABC News.
Are you more than $10,000 in debt? Feel like you're on a never-ending treadmill, staying in one place and never getting ahead with those minimum payments? You feel like there's no way out? Get off the endless debt treadmill and start saving money each month. There are programs in place to help you get free of your debt, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. The program at Total Financial Freedom can help you get debt-free in months instead of decades. Call Total Financial now at 800-208-1312. 800-208-1312.
Sherry Preston, ABC News.
I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network. 2 people have died in an early morning house fire in Columbus. Tino Ramos with ONN affiliate WBNS TV in Columbus reports.
Columbus Fire and Worthington were all here before 3 o'clock when the fire sounded. Now, when they arrived, they saw smoke coming from the home, but nobody was out front to greet them in terms of any family members. They discovered 3 victims on the 2nd floor of this home here. They tell us none of them had pulses. They were able to get a pulse back on the mother. She is in critical condition right now, but the father and a 19-year-old daughter died in this fire. Tino Ramos in North Columbus.
Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost is commenting on the state's investigation into the deadly shooting more than a week ago of 25-year-old Jalen Walker, who was shot 60 times by Akron police when he ran from a car after a police chase.
There are many questions about what happened. Was the force necessary? What led police to shoot a young man so many times? What could have been done to prevent this from occurring in the first place?
Yost says body camera footage is just one piece of that investigation. President Biden in Cleveland yesterday said the FBI and Justice Department are reviewing that case. To the northwest of Columbus, lightning may have sparked a barn fire early yesterday in Marysville. 4 cows inside managed to escape and were not hurt. For more state news, go to ONNradio.com. I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network.
The best in live and local talk returns momentarily on The Watchdog.
Introducing our new redesigned 7 News app. Our new app features a sleek, modern design, an easy-to-navigate home screen with quick access to local news content and a localized weather forecast. Subscribing to notifications is easier, and with one tap, you have access to recent push notifications. There are more ways to watch and find video. To get the new WTRF 7 News app, just update the latest version or download the WTRF 7 News app in your Apple or Google Play Store by searching WTRF.
Hello, everyone. From The Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster with a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Partly cloudy skies prevailing, a daytime high near 86 degrees. Your overnight low of 64 under partly cloudy conditions. You'll see partly cloudy skies to start your Friday. A few occasional showers through the afternoon and maybe a rumble of thunder before it's all said and done. A high near 84. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From The Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Live from the Robinson Auto Group studios, this is the Valley's longest-running morning show, the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe from WKKX and WVLY.
And a happy good morning to you. It is a Thursday, a little bit foggy outside right now, and going to be a little bit cloudier, I guess, than we've had for the last few days. But it's temperature's okay, 68 degrees, Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 68 at the Highlands, 69 degrees here at my home studios in Elm Grove, and 67 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group studios, downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Welcome into the Watchdog Morning Show, brought to you by WVU Medicine. Happy you're here for this Thursday edition. Have all kinds of fun things planned for you, some serious stuff, some lighthearted matters, some things that are going to be of importance, and some things that will just kind of hopefully make you smile, make you chuckle. We always want to hear from you. If you want to join us, you can text me. Text line is always open, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. The Frio Stack Auction Service hotline is always open for your phone calls, 304-232-8255, 304-232-TALK. Give us a call at that number if you would like to. You can email me, radiomonroe@aol.com. Follow us on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. We have a video feed. It's up on Twitter, so that's an option for you as well. Just all kinds of ways you can be part of the program. And I hope that you're listening, whether you're listening on AM, on FM, whether listening online or on Twitter or what have you. I do suggest one thing. We want you to listen well. Don't listen too loud. I mean, listen good, but don't bother your neighbors. Now, I say that because of a story out of Pennsylvania where a guy was arrested after he choked and assaulted a woman because she asked him to turn down the volume on his radio. Apparently, the guy was sitting at a picnic table with a woman. She said, "Your radio's too loud." He pushed her off the table, began hitting her and choking her and punching her. Police say when they got there, they found her laying face down on a picnic table, gasping for air and in physical distress. So, Bob Slider, I want people to listen. I want them to listen, loud, but not too loud.
Yeah,
I want no one to get choked for listening to us.
As my fifth grade teacher would say, don't forget about your neighbor there. Be nice.
Yeah, just keep that in mind. So glad you're here. Listen loud. Crank it up on the radio so the sound of the air conditioning doesn't overrun the important sound of Bob Slider and I. But just keep it in mind your neighbor. That's right. If you're listening at work, maybe put in your earbuds or something if you can. We care about you. 7:10 in the morning here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Bob, did you see where there was a big change to one of our favorite grocery stores coming?
I was shocked, Howard. Got it on the news. Channel 7 covered it. It's changing a little bit, but man, I was surprised, yes.
Neely's Grocery, which is a long-time establishment in East Wheeling, one of our favorite places to go, yours and mine. Bob, it's about time for some fried chicken and ham sandwiches. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. I hear you.
I was prepping the story last night. I was prepping the story last night, and that was when I got thinking, oh, Neely's fried chicken and a good ham sandwich, a little picnic time for sure. No, don't panic. Neely's is not closing or anything. But there's some slight change in ownership there. Several of the Miller brothers are now stepping back. It still is a family-owned business. And a younger generation of Millers is buying into the business. So it's a bit of an ownership change, which hopefully, I know those folks. I'm sure that there won't be any real substantive change. Hopefully not, because it's such a good place. But it was just stunning. But Bob, it's a reminder, we just had the Minute Car Wash. A couple weeks ago, we talked about it closing down. Again, Neely's is not closing; it's just a change in ownership within the family. So it's not nearly as big a deal. But the times they are changing. Once again, just a reminder: the times they are changing.
They are. It started about 15 years ago. Kelly Miller, he was the first brother that said, "You know what? I'm going to try something else." Kelly and I, every afternoon, I would park down there, and we would walk together up to the Hazlitt building, and we would we would go to poker school. And Kelly knew nothing about cards. He knew nothing about poker. And I say this in all sincerity. When he was done, he was the best over there. Kelly left. He went to Pittsburgh and worked for a while, and I think he's retired too. So all the Miller brothers are looking for the rocking chair or the fishing pole or the high-powered rifle or the muzzle load or something. You know, I think they're going to enjoy retirement because these guys, I mean, you know Howard, you know them. They love the woods. They love fishing. Yeah. You know, they will enjoy their time.
Well, and Scott lives right down the street from us, and I know that no doubt his wife will have him doing a lot more work on the house. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. They'll keep him busy.
You know, there'll be plenty to do. So, again, I want to be real clear. I don't want to misunderstand me. This is not, nobody's closing at all, but it's an ownership change. And when we're talking about family-owned businesses like this, an ownership change is something to take note of. And again, Neely's just, I don't know, to me at least, one of my favorite places around here. A lot of people, Bob, it's one of those businesses too. You come into town and you point it out and they say, what, that's some kind of a big deal? Just, you know, a little concrete building in a kind of a cast off corner of East Wheeling, that's a big deal? Yeah, it's a big deal.
Sure, it's a big deal. Walk in, check it out. Say hi to Charlie Ballouz. He's probably standing there having a coffee. You know, say hello to everybody. Go back there, order a sandwich. They treat you right. It's a busy place. You know, you might want to stand back because there's people coming and going.
And the food is good.
Excellent.
I mean, you know, they have the daily specials. I'm trying to think what all Taco Tuesday, Wiener Wednesday. I forget what all they have. I should know these by heart, and I don't. But every day a little something different for lunch. And I know the TV7 team goes up there. Everybody goes up there.
Everybody hangs out up there. You never know who you're going to see up there.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm telling you, pal, you know what I like? The fried chicken and the ham sandwich. Oh, that's
ham and Swiss cheese, and you'll slap a little mayo on there.
You got that right. That's absolutely right. That's exactly what I'm in the mood for. So just wanted to kind of take note of that. And again, to the folks who are retiring, good luck. Have a good time. Like you said, Bob, whether you're heading out into the woods or the creek or just sitting on the front porch, enjoy your retirement. You know, they're the kind of folks, they are such hard workers. I wonder how retirement will sit with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know the story. You know, those boys started young. I mean, real young. Six brothers, I think. I don't want to butcher that. I know they're probably listening. And their aunt and uncle treated them boys like their own and brought them up in the business and set them up in the business. And all these years later, you know, it's one of those things you just take for granted. And it's changing because, look, we're all getting old. And those guys really deserve it.
And again, they're hard workers. I mean, they're the family. It's a family run. They have a few other employees, but basically the family is there every day. Some member of the family, several members of the family, all working, and I suspect some of them will have a hard time, not responding to the fire bell, so to speak. You know, not responding to, gotta go down to the shop. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if from time to time we don't see some of the, quote, retired brothers showing up to...
Oh, you're going to see them down there. They can't. It's like Bill Bryson. They can't stop. That just means they're going to work 40 hours a week. That's all, you know, part-time. And, you know, let's do this. Let's encourage everybody. If you're listening to Howard and I this morning, stop down there and have lunch and tell them Howard and I sent you down. Tell the Miller brothers we sent you.
Absolutely. And please do remember, if you're having like a party or a picnic or something, can't go wrong with Neely's chicken. People ask me all the time, what chicken do you... I used to coordinate one of our church picnics, and I would insist. I would say, no, and I would just begin with a statement. I said, now we're going to have Neely's chicken and blah, blah, blah. And they go, Howard, maybe we should talk about somebody else having chicken. You didn't hear me. I said, we're going to have Neely's chicken. I love the chicken and everything that they have there. And a Mountain Dew, if you don't mind, please, too. But yeah, Neely's chicken, ham sandwich, Mountain Dew. We need one of our picnic lunches, buddy.
We will do it, Howard.
7:17 in the morning on the Watchdog Morning Show. And again, oftentimes I do know a lot of those folks do listen. Guys, you do a great job. The whole Valley appreciates you, appreciates the work that you do, appreciates the food that you make and provide. And to those of you who are choosing to retire, good luck. To the younger generation stepping up and taking up a little more responsibility. We'll be there. We'll be there. Coming by for chicken or whatever it is that's needed to serve in East Wheeling. That's what they're a critical part of the East Wheeling community. I mean,
and let's point this out, Howard. Their whole life in that business, they've done everything they can to keep prices down. They get the stuff in there that people can afford. And I know this for a fact. People in East Wheeling appreciate that. And they've appreciated that for a long, long time.
Absolutely. I remember them saying to me when there was a big debate about opening up the public market across the street from our offices, our studios, which is somewhat city funded in that they gave the public market, the Grow Ohio Valley people, they gave them the space. And you weren't around, but Biff and I had a lot of discussion about that at the time. I thought it might have been a little bit inappropriate, and everybody said, well, there's no grocery downtown. And Needless would go, hey, what are we, chopped liver up here? What are we? No, it's not downtown, but it's 2 blocks away or 3 blocks away or something. So anyway, I want to take time to comment on that. The old order changeth, giving way to the new, as I think it's a biblical quote or it's some kind of a quote. And again, congratulations to the new kids and congratulations to the old kids having some retirement. And congratulations to Bob and I, who will have a picnic lunch before very long. 7:19, 19 after the hour. It's a Thursday morning edition of the Watchdog Morning Show. Memories or reflections of Neely's, for heaven's sakes. You can do that on the Watchdog Radio Network text line. That's 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. Feel free to text us, or you can use the Frio Stack auction service hotline at 304-232-8255, 304-232-TALK, and give us a call. Happy to talk to you about Neely's or about anything else. Here's what we are talking about today. A couple of big stories in the state. Kanawha County judge has stopped the Hope Scholarship Program, saying it's unconstitutional. This is the program that gives money to students who want to leave the public schools and go into a private school or a charter school. Taking money out of the public education system, putting it into a private school. The judge says that it's unconstitutional. The legislature and tax funds are supposed to support public education. Now, the decision is being appealed. Brad McElhenney, our Metro News reporter, is in to try and put the whole thing in perspective for us. Also, Governor Justice once again pushing legislators for an income tax cut. House Speaker Roger Hanshaw outlines his approach to reviewing abortion laws in West Virginia. We'll talk about all of that still with Brad. Wheeling Council this week, we talked about it briefly. Wheeling Council this week heard a second proposal for a new homeless shelter. Remember the city's homeless coordinator, Melissa Adams, was with us a few weeks ago, and it appeared before council talking about a life hub. Mark Gaines from Northwood Health Systems was at council this week talking about their own idea of a low-barrier homeless shelter on 19th Street. We'll start to get some reaction from city officials and city council members. Vice Mayor Chad Thalman is in with us today to give us his initial thoughts. Another big deadline is looming for thousands of West Virginians who could watch their health care premiums go up if Congress doesn't extend parts of the American Rescue Plan. There's a lot of stuff that we have been taking for granted during the COVID times because of all the COVID funding that was approved early on. That funding is running out. We're going to talk about that with Jeremy Smith from the Affordable Health Care Act Navigator Program in West Virginia, and what might happen and what can be done to hopefully stop it. And a dramatically scaled down Build Back Better bill, this one focused at least initially on Medicare drug negotiations, seems to have Joe Manchin's support. Therefore, it seems to be under consideration again in the U.S. Senate. Build Back Better, we thought had been dead when Manchin appeared on Fox News a couple of months ago, said he wouldn't support the bill, at least as it was written then. But since then, there's been a lot of talk about can it be scaled down, can certain parts of it be brought alive again. And according to ABC News, Manchin is in support of this one part, at least, of the scaled back Build Back Better bill. We'll talk about that coming up later here on the Watchdog Morning Show. So that's what I have for you. You got something for me, you know what to do. Phone lines, text lines. We're here. We're ready to talk to you. It is 7:22 here on the Watchdog Morning Show.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Cybersecurity attacks can cripple and even force a small business to close. Does your organization have a focused approach to being cyber resilient? If you can't answer yes, you should contact Omni Strategic Technologies to help you identify the steps to protect your data and reputation from the very real cyber threats that exist today. Schedule your free consultation by calling Omni at 304-242-7600 or online at omniperforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only cybersecurity firm that the Watchdog trusts.
It's the summer's hottest party, the Circus Saints and Sinners Party on the Plaza Music and Food Festival. The fun happens Saturday, July 9th at the Plaza on Market in downtown Wheeling. Get tickets at partyontheplaza.org.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey! Hey, buddy! Yeah! You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it! Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go. 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure. I mean, you being a mountain climber and all.
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
We don't run down at sundown. For sports talk all night, listen to WKKX. For political conversation, tune to WVLY, and it's all online at watchdognetwork.com and on your phone with TuneIn Radio.
Whether it's dinner for a special occasion, a quick lunch, or happy hour fun, the Highlands has you covered with nearly 24 eateries. Panera Bread, Wendy's, Chick-fil-A and McDonald's, Fusion, El Paso, or Eaton Park. All just minutes away off I-70 on the hilltop at the Highlands.
We're on air, online, on video, and on demand. Find us where you like us. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
$7:25 on a Thursday morning. It's 68 degrees pretty much across the board. Looking outside, I see a little bit of light fog floating around and partly cloudy skies here at my home studios. The sun will peek back out a little bit later on today. We'll save temperatures in the mid-80s for our high today. A couple of things going on this weekend. Want to make sure you know about them off our community calendar. Of course, tonight begins what used to be called the Mustang Fair. I don't know why I keep calling it by its old name, Bob. It's now the St. Michael's Parish Festival, but to me, it's always for some reason going to be the Mustang Fair, I guess. Never going to get that out of my head, but the event gets underway this evening and runs for the next 3 days at St. Michael's on National Road in Wheeling. Then we had a commercial earlier for a Party in the Plaza. We talked with Paul Smith from Saints and Sinners earlier this week about Party on the Plaza, big event, helping to raise money for WVU Children's Hospital, WVU Medicine Children's Hospital. And that'll be on the Market Plaza, downtown Wheeling, in the evening of Saturday. Music, bands, food, beverages, just a lot of fun in the plaza. It's always a big event. This is the third annual version of that in the downtown Market Plaza. And before that, on Saturday, Cops, Pops, and Community at the Wheeling Waterfront, where there'll be games and DJs and inflatables and all kinds of fun stuff. It was put together by the Wheeling Police and by the folks at Ziegenfelders and some other places with the idea in mind of just creating a gathering where everybody could get together and have no fights and no disagreements, but just have a little bit of fun. Cops, Pops, and community at the Wheeling Waterfront on Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So be aware of that. My wife and I were driving through, yes, we were chasing police cars again. No, we weren't. We were driving through Center Wheeling yesterday, and I had forgotten that the bridge leading into Center Wheeling over the creek, the one that had been closed because of a fire in the homeless camp underneath it, I forgot that bridge is still closed. And according to a story in the Morning Intel today, it's been over a month since the fire began, and they haven't yet inspected the bridge. Once the fire occurred, they were going to close the bridge, do an inspection just to make sure there were no problems there. But according to the Morning Intel today, Tony Clark from the Department of Highways says the inspection of the bridge has not yet been done because the remnants of the homeless camp that was underneath that caused the fire have not yet been cleaned up. And again, sometimes, Bob, I read between the lines, and it's not always a good thing to do. It sounds to me like we get some tension here between the city and the state. The city puts it back on us, says Tony Clark, saying we own the property and it's our right of way, so we have to clean it up. Well, yeah, I mean,
isn't that how the way it works, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, it is your right of way. As I understand it, some of the initial complaints about the homeless camp there, although I think the city probably concurred, I think the complaints came from the Department of Highways saying, hey, this is our right of way and we can't have these homeless people living underneath it. So yeah, it's your responsibility, and the camp has to be cleaned up, and they haven't cleaned it up yet. And then they're going to eventually do the inspection. Clark says there is some concern the bridge decking may have been damaged by that fire, and so it could be closed for a good while if they have to do some repairs. They haven't even begun to inspect it yet, let alone do any kind of repairs. Wheeling Fire Department has been investigating the fire itself, trying to discover who was under the bridge at the time. But again, it's homeless folks who probably, I would think, I'm no firefighter. All I know of firefighting, Bob, I get from
Chicago Fire.
Watching Chicago Fire on television. But I would think it's probably hard to track down homeless folks, who was under the bridge at a certain time. I don't know. I think that'd be hard to figure out. But at any rate, bottom line of this is, it just caught me by surprise. That bridge leading over Wheeling Creek from the community college area into Center Wheeling is still closed and will be closed for a while. So, because again, they have to inspect it. No, they've got to clean up the homeless camp, then inspect it, and then if there's a problem, fix it. So that bridge could be closed for a while. There's some easy detours around it, but it just caught me by surprise yesterday. That's all. I didn't realize that it was still shut down. I didn't realize we were going to have some problems with it, so thought I would pass that along to you. Morning Intel has more details if you want to read the story this morning.
And Howard, it doesn't sound like much until you want to go to Center Wheeling or you want to head down that way, and now you're zigging and zagging. They already had some construction going on down there.
Yes, that's correct.
To me, I mean, is that crucial? But to me, they should have went down there and looked, is the bridge damaged or not? We should have already known that answer. And now if they want to squabble back and forth about this camp or whatever, I mean, it's silly. Get it cleaned up. Let's go.
I'm with you. Look, I'm one of these guys. I know things take longer than we, the general public, expected. I mean, I do. I know that. We gripe and complain, but I know things take time. But it's been, the fire was June the 7th. Today's July 7th, right?
It is, Howard. Very good.
So, well, thank you for that. I got the smarts, Bob. I got the smarts. What I don't have is a calendar. I got to get a calendar here in this home studio. But so it's been exactly 1 month. And you're right. You would think, I know inspection is more than just going down and taking a look, okay? It's not like some guy just walking down underneath the bridge and going, well, it looks okay to me. I mean, it's more than that. I get that. But you would think they could have, done it sooner. And if the issue is, again, I don't want to say, how hard is, if there's remnants of a homeless camp there, how hard is it to clean it up? I mean, am I missing something? Get a couple of guys with garbage bags and collect the trash and haul it away. I mean, I don't know. I'm probably getting in trouble for talking about all this. It's probably much more complex than I think. And it's not a gigantic problem. I mean, but you're right, Bob. The problem is that now you have to zigzag, get through, and there's some other work going on in that general area anyway. Of course, there's work going on everywhere in downtown, even parts of Center Wheeling. So it just makes matters complicated, and I don't get why it couldn't have been done faster. I don't know if it's the city or the state. I don't even care whose responsibility it is. Just fix it. Come on. It's not. Well, again, fixing it may be hard, Bob. It may turn out there's some kind of major damage done. Okay.
Well, it could be, but that would be one hell of a fire, wouldn't it, to damage steel like that? And I'm not saying it didn't happen, but you would think it would take about 10 minutes to get in there and look at that and say, yes, the steel was damaged, or no, the steel was not damaged.
Mr. Clark this morning says that he thinks the part of that bridge is fiberglass.
Okay, thanks. Then I'm wrong, yes.
Which probably makes it easier to damage by fire.
Yes.
But again, I have things in my head, images in my mind that may not be right. A homeless encampment causing a fire, I envision, somebody having a cookout kind of fire, where they cook their dinner or what have you. I mean, it's not like it's not like a wilderness blaze. I don't know. But again, I don't know. I'm not the expert. And I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not blaming the city. I'm not blaming the state, although it sounds to me like there's a little bit of tension between the two of them there. Just clean up the camp. Send someone down to do a quick inspection. They did that with the suspension bridge a couple of years ago after the truck went through, remember? They sent a team in and did a fast inspection. And the first team said, oh, boy, this probably is going to be a problem. We need a more in-depth inspection. Let's get to that level at least. Let's get that first round of somebody looking at the bridge and going, oh, let somebody say, okay, oh, no, we're fine, it's okay. We'll clean things up and open it up. Or somebody saying, uh-oh, I see some more problems here. We're going to have to take some time. But at least get to that stage. It sounded to me from the morning story today, the Intel story, that nothing's been done. You clean it up. No, you clean it up. No, you clean it up. No,
That's
you
what
clean
I
it
was
up.
going to say. No, I don't want to do it. You do it.
All right. Maybe I'll talk to Chad Thalman about that when we talk with Chad a bit later on this morning about, well, we're going to talk about homeless, so this will be a perfect tie-in. 7:34, 26 before the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Fog starting to burn off. I'm seeing more sunshine outside right now. We're looking for a partly cloudy day. Foggy skies this morning, sun after that. 68 degrees at the airport, 68 at the Highlands, 69 here in Elm Grove, and 67 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Bob, is do you have the screen up? Is the slide projector already?
The slide projector.
I think Aaron brought some slides.
Oh, vacation slides.
Yeah, so I think we're going to have a little, what I did on my summer vacation slideshow from Aaron Myler.
Well, let's take a break, and I'll see if I can find the screen.
Yeah, get the screen, make sure the projector's there so we can see all the good slides that Aaron took while he was away on vacation. Aaron Myler is up next, but first we have sports and headlines from WTRF-TV. Here's Stephanie. Good morning, Steph.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm Stephanie Grinley with your 7 News headlines for July 7th. It's the end of an era and the beginning of a new one for an iconic Wheeling business. 3 familiar faces at Neely's Grocery are retiring in Wheeling. Rod Miller and his brothers Lance and Scott will be stepping back from their roles to work part-time. Rod, working full-time for 43 years, tells us that his twin brother Todd and his niece Maria are buying them out and will take over the reins of the neighborhood grocery store. Across the state, according to a news release from the West Virginia State Police, after a car chase and a crash in Raleigh County, a shootout ensued as onlookers filmed from their cars at an intersection. According to the police, the armed suspect exited the vehicle brandishing a handgun. Then responding officers deployed multiple rounds of bullets, killing the suspect. The investigation remains active and ongoing. President Joe Biden used an Ohio visit to showcase federal action aimed at shoring up pensions for millions of workers. It's part of a broader effort to reinvigorate his political standing with blue-collar voters. Ohio has been trending strongly Republican recently, with Donald Trump easily carrying it twice. But Democrats have hopes of winning a Senate seat that is coming open. The president announced a federal rule change that will allow major new financial support for troubled pensions that cover some 2 million to 3 million workers. And that was a look at your 7 News headlines. I'm Stephanie Grinley. Have a great Thursday, everyone.
Hey, it's Jensen Lewis. As a former Major League pitcher, I pitch in all kinds of situations, and I would always study the matchups with the opposing team's roster. Some guys you could blow away with a fastball, other guys would buckle at the knees on a curveball. It's important to be in control and know what pitch to throw in every situation. When walking near a railroad track, know that the matchup with a train is never in your favor. Railroad tracks are for trains, and trains always win. Stay off the tracks and stay safe.
We are back, and we are looking at a pretty lopsided matchup, Jim.
That's right, Ron. I mean, in one corner, we've got a 175-pound guy, and in the other, a 6,000-ton heavyweight train?
Jim, this guy has no idea what he's getting himself into.
It's no contest. Every day, people tempt fate and die trespassing on railroad tracks. See tracks, think train.
Want to generate more leads for your home improvement business? Menards offers contractors the opportunity to promote their services in our installer center. We encourage you to connect with our guests because we're your supplier, not your competitor. Contact one of our team members at any of your surrounding Menards store locations to inquire about the free program and get enrolled in our installer center today.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey there, Dave Weekley here. Metro News Hotline presents what's trending in sports, music, movies, tech, television, and more from a Mountain State point of view. Renowned local and national guests pepper the daily lineup with authoritative insights and commentary on a wide variety of topics from West Virginia high school sports to the financial markets. Join the fun. Every day, Coop and I dip into irreverent discussions with calls, texts, tweets, the question of the day, and the always popular In or Out. Metro News Hotline, weekdays from 3 to 6 on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Miss a part of the show? Want to hear a segment again? Check out our podcast page at watchdognetwork.com. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
It's a slow morning on the phone lines and on the text line. I want to encourage you to be part of the program. You can certainly text us anytime at all during the day. In fact, anytime all night long for that matter, and I'll catch the text when I get here in the morning. Use the text line, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. If you have thoughts on what we're talking about or things you think we should talk about or things you wish I wouldn't talk about, use the text line. Or even better, when we have time, feel free to give us a call, 304-232-8255. 304-232-TALK is the Frio Stack auction service hotline, and it's a way for you to get through to us and hopefully talk with me on the air, but a lot of you just talk to Bob off the air. That's okay, too. Sometimes we have 2 talk shows running at the same time, one in Bob's studio and one in the air. That's all right. Feel free to use the Frio Stack auction service hotline, 304-232-8255. But I'm looking at the text line right now. We're pretty quiet this morning on the text line. And usually by this time I've got, at the very least, I've usually got someone telling me that I'm politically all messed up. So the text line is kind of quiet today. 7:40, 22 of the hour. Bob, do you have the projector up now? I guess he's still talking to Aaron, probably. Okay.
I'm sorry, Howard. I stepped away. What?
It's okay. That's all right. I just want to make sure the projector was up. Do you have the projector up?
I do. I was pulling the screen up when Aaron called. He's got the slides ready. He'll walk us through the slide show. So are you ready for it?
So it is now time for What I Did on My Summer Vacation, Part 1, with Aaron Myler from the Big 7. Aaron, good morning.
Good morning. I'm back.
He's back. Welcome back. Good to have you here. You got your slideshow already? We're all sitting eagerly awaiting the slideshow.
Okay, I have this thing where I never, ever, ever take pictures on vacations. So I don't have a singular
You are
photo.
one weird guy, Aaron Myler.
Okay, hear me out, though. Hear me out. I always try to really live in the moment. I except for at work, because I have to have my phone on me at work, or like when I was checking the radar when we were at the pool, because I knew there were storms coming, and I was like, oh, we'll just wait until like the storms get here. I'll just watch it. I am not usually on my phone. I try really actively very hard to not be on my phone that often. So I'm just not like, I don't like, and I saw this thing on Twitter or something that said, your best friend, they live in a different state, you see them 2 times a year, and you have 0 pictures together. And that's Stephen and I. I didn't take a single photo.
You listen. I get your philosophy. I don't live, and I should, and I think you're absolutely right. We also, I don't say we all. I'll speak for myself. I spend, and Bob Slider will probably concur with this. I spend too much time looking at my phone. You tell me that a lot, Bob.
That's true, Howard.
So I agree with your philosophy, Aaron, that we need to live more in the moment. But come on, when you're on vacation, part of vacation is taking pictures. You know, you want, so you come back and you can share them with everybody, and or if not, just so you have the memories yourself. I know you got them in your head, you'll tell me, but sometimes you just want to look at them. You know, geez, you are just one strange bird. That's all I'm going to tell you.
I always kind of regret it afterwards, but in the same breath, it's like, I hate nothing more than standing and posing for a photo and like going and just like doing a whole thing for like, because we didn't do anything that was like necessarily that photo worthy. Like we went to some breweries, went to this bar on a roof, went to a bunch of good places for food, cute coffee shops, went to the pool, did a bunch of fun things. But even like, I mean, I was there for like a really long weekend. So half the time we just kind of chilled at his apartment. It was me, him, and his girlfriend. So half the time we just kind of chilled there and like played some video games where you I woke up before everybody else, so I'd always sit there and read my books on his balcony for a few hours. So it was really relaxed, which was like not necessarily 100% what I was expecting, but it was nice because we had some days where we did stuff, and other times we just kind of got to chill, and it was nice. It was fun. I love that area. I love that area that he was in. So I'd go back.
But all of your friends back here at home wanted to share in your joy of going to the brewery or having a nice lunch and we got nothing. Everybody said, "Whoa, where's Aaron? Let's see." Can hardly wait to see how much fun he and Stephen are having, getting reunited again, and going to do some these. You know, sometimes just sitting there drinking a beer and raising it to the iPhone, that's a good thing. I got to tell you, my grandson and his whole family has been on vacation for the past week. They go back today, but they went for multiple days at Deep Creek. Then they went up to Legoland in New York City for my grandson to play around with. Stopped at Hershey Park on the way home yesterday. And everywhere along the way, I kept getting pictures. Granddad wanted to know what was going on. I wanted to go along with them. We wanted to go along with you, Aaron. We wanted to go along with you, and you have let us down. We're still glad you're back.
I've literally been in Europe twice, which are like my big vacations in my head. And even there, like we were in London, I forgot to take pictures the entire time. I only thought of it whenever somebody else took their phone out for a picture, and I was like, oh, I should get that too. Or when we were in Spain, I had server money back in the day, so and I lived in my parents' house, so I could do these things. But when I was there, I think it's like I had friends, I love them, like 2 of my good friends, but they took pictures and videos and everything the entire time. Like we would spend half an hour at each little thing that we saw just for pictures and videos of ourselves. And I am not that person, so it really drives me up a wall. So I tend to, like I said, be the exact opposite, and I need to balance somewhat, because I would like to have these pictures. So I think about it, I'm like, oh, I could have a few pictures to post on Instagram and just of Stephen and I getting to see each other again. But yeah, I'm terrible about it. I just don't. I never take pictures. I never take pictures.
Well, all right. I guess now that I think about it again, knowing you, that's not a total surprise, because you do seem to be a guy who lives in the moment, to use your phrase.
Well, I feel foolish. I'm gonna put the slide projector back in the screen back,
Yeah.
and
We brought in the
we'll
projector.
check next time before we drag your stuff out. Okay, Howard?
We got the old slide. Listen, this is stuff from back in the '60s, and we brought it out to show the slides and on the screen and stuff. But okay, Aaron, all right, you've disappointed us all. But that's okay. That's all right. Let's talk about the weather.
When I go next weekend.
Yeah, please, at least one, just one picture.
It won't be with Steven, but I'll go with my other friend Amelia, who you guys don't know.
Okay. You know, when you go on the next vacation, take at least one picture. Get a little piece of paper and write "Hi, Howard and Bob," and just hold that up and just, put the picture up on Facebook or send it to us or something, just so we can be part of your trip, for heaven's sakes. Because
I'll try to remember next time.
Bob Slider will verify. I post everything I have online, right, Bob?
Every single thing.
I literally have, I think, one, maybe 2 or 3 photos tops of Steven and I together. And he's like, I have 2 of my closest friends, and he's one of them. The other one is my friend Amelia, who I'm visiting in a couple weeks. And both of them, I have almost no, like, I think my friend Amelia and I took a photo together. We looked like a couple months ago. I think we don't have one since like 2014 of a picture of the 2 of us together. I'm really like chronically, like I've gone too far the opposite direction. I need to like correct a little bit and like come back and just take a couple photos.
I'm going to take one moment to be somewhat serious with you here, because we've been kind of goofing around about this, and I do get the concept of living in the moment. But I want you to think about this for a minute. There will come a day when the moment is gone, and you wish you had something to reflect back upon on that moment. You think about that.
Yeah, that's true.
You think about
I bought a candle. Well, I bought it for Steven, so I guess I didn't buy a candle. I brought, guess what, of all things, we went to Costco down there, because I got in his house, there was like a few things, like a lot of places he always wanted to show me, he was excited about. And we always, he lived with me for a month, so we would always cook together, and that was always one of our things. And he goes, Aaron, I have the best salsa, because he loves Mexican food. And I was like, okay, I thought he made it or something. He pulls out this jar of salsa, and I've never found a can of jarred salsa I actually enjoy. And I was like, of all things, the first thing he's excited to show me is a jar of salsa. So then I tried it, and I don't know what it was, but it was so good. So I brought 2 of these giant jars of salsa back from South Carolina because it was delicious.
And that was your gift to Stephanie, right? Stephanie, I brought you some salsa from Costco. Yeah, I get it.
I did not share it because I don't know if all Costco's have it. I'm keeping hush, hush. Don't tell anybody.
All right. We won't tell a soul. Let's talk about the weather. We had a mixture of weather while you were gone. We had a couple of big storms, but several beautiful days for the 4th of July and that holiday weekend, the Sunday and Monday. Today's going to be kind of a mixture day, it sounds like to me.
Yeah, so we started off with some fog, and then there's still some out there. And from there, we're also seeing everything with a couple clouds, but those clouds are going to start to dissipate. It's going to get a little sunnier outside, even though it is going to be a bit more humid still. So we're still going to stick with temperatures that are normal, but humidity that's still not what we want. But we will get nicer looking for the day as we go throughout your Thursday. But it's going to be humid and there's not going to really be a breeze, so it's just going to kind of feel thick, I think is the word I'm going to use. I hear the air just feels thick sometimes. So we'll kind of see that today. Then tomorrow, starting off, we'll have a mix of some sun and some clouds. With that, we're going to have some showers moving in tomorrow. There's a possibility some will start in the afternoon. I think most of them will be a tiny bit later on that home front, but even with that, not too terrible overall. And then we'll have those moving through mainly looking like Friday night into Saturday morning when we have that in the forecast. And then after that, on Saturday afternoon, it should get a little bit sunnier. We'll see really a lot of sunshine on Sunday and Monday. So it is going to get nicer here. But even the next couple of days, they're not going to be completely rainy all day, every day. So it's still going to be pretty nice here. Just some rain sprinkled in there as well.
All right, not a terrible forecast.
Yeah, not terrible. Not perfect, but not terrible. Also, I stand proven wrong. DK texted me a photo of, she was taking of Steven on his last day, and I think I accidentally photobombed it. So I guess technically there's photos of us in the same photograph, we're just not necessarily posing together.
Bless DK's heart. She was going to prove you wrong, by golly. All right, there you go. Hey, well, Aaron, slides or no slides, I'm glad you're back. Welcome back. Sounds like you had a really good time. Appreciate that. And then when do you go again? How long before you're leaving again?
I have off next Friday as my first day off. So I'm off I have a 4-day weekend. So I'm off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Not this weekend, obviously, but the one following that. So
and then
more trips. Why not?
Then you're off to summer vacation part 2. All right, sounds good.
Well, and then summer vacation part 3 comes in August.
Oh, wow. Boy, oh, boy. Bob, how many summer vacations have you taken?
Probably none.
Okay. All right. So
I've taken no days off this year and going to friends. It's been great because you don't have to, like, and I had a bunch of airline miles, so I was like, well, the flights are free, and then I'm staying at somebody's house, so that's free. So, I mean, I didn't use any days off because we were down a meteorologist for a while, so I was trying not to take days off. I have all these days left, and I'm like, well, might as well start using them.
You got them, you might as well use them. I agree. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Again, good to have you back. Glad you had a good time, and we'll chat again tomorrow. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it.
Talk to them.
It is 68 degrees, pretty much across the board. 69 here at the home studios, a little bit, just a smidgen of a degree warmer. The early morning fog seems to be fading away, and I'm seeing much more sunshine outside the window. 7:52, 8 before the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. A couple of top of the morning tidbits for you coming up in the next segment here for a Thursday morning.
Why did I want to work for CEC? You mean besides the fact that they're a leader in the industries they serve, like environmental and civil engineering, air quality, and water resources? Or the fact we're employee-owned, so we share in CEC's success? Well, challenges get me fired up, and CEC's employees pride themselves in finding cool solutions that solve unique problems for our clients. We're always creating, using our expertise to save those clients money and meet their challenges. I've worked on sustainable landscape projects, nature centers, and with the shale oil and gas industries, too. Another reason I'm with CEC? I love my West Virginia home, and I'm helping build her future close to my family.
Creative solutions that are building West Virginia's future and can build yours close to home. Find that opportunity with CEC when you go to cecinc.org/careers. CEC, big firm capabilities, small firm culture. cecinc.org.
Cybersecurity attacks can cripple and even force a small business to close. Does your organization have a focused approach to being cyber resilient? If you can't answer yes, you should contact Omni Strategic Technologies to help you identify the steps to protect your data and reputation from the very real cyber threats that exist today. Schedule your free consultation by calling Omni at 304-242-7600 or online at omniperforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only cybersecurity firm that the Watchdog trusts.
We are compassionate.
We are focused.
We are confident.
We are dependable.
We are resilient.
We are skilled.
We are empathetic.
We are knowledgeable.
We are respectful.
We are here.
For you and your family.
We are close to home. We are
WVU Medicine.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
Live and local for the Ohio Valley, the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
That's the theme from The Sting. Bob, is there a name to that song? It's Ragtime something, is it not?
The name is The Entertainer.
Oh, The Entertainer. The Entertainer. That's right. Okay. All right. Very good. I used to use that actually as the show theme song for a period of time, many years ago. Got a handful of big stories I want to chat about here.
These are the big stories making news and conversation today on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
And I'm going to talk mainly about mass shootings, several stories about it. Officials say that the boy charged, well, he's not a boy. That's totally inappropriate. Slap me for saying that. The man, the 21-year-old man charged with killing 7 people in that mass shooting on the 4th of July at a parade in the suburb of Chicago, confessed to police and also, Bob, said he had considered having a second shooting after he was done with the parade. He had planned to shoot up the parade, kill people there, and go somewhere else and kill some more. then apparently he changed his mind. Police say they have not yet figured out what his motive is. They're not sure. They don't see any racial or religious or discriminatory kind of feelings behind him. They're just not sure what prompted this. But he confessed to the crime of the parade shooting, and he said he was going to do a second shooting. That is scary. Going to a previous mass shooting, Uvalde, Texas, that one where they're still trying to figure out why in the world didn't police get in there and do something earlier. A new report on that shooting says that a police officer who watched the gunman walk towards the campus carrying his rifle didn't shoot or take any action against the guy because he was waiting for permission from a supervisor, and the supervisor never told him, go get the guy. I'm not sure what the proper terms of engagement are, Bob, and I know there are terms of engagement. But it would seem to me if you see a guy with a rifle walking towards the school, you don't wait for someone to say, go get him. I mean, don't you just go get him? Isn't that what you ought to be doing?
Well, most of that stuff you see on TV or read about, but yeah, the real people that do their job the right way, they respond. They don't wait for someone to tell them, well, yeah, do that. They respond. They do what needs to be done.
And in reading about following up on Uvalde, there are some national standards being developed for things like school shootings. It's hard to believe we have to have standards for this. But one of them, as I understand it, and I'm willing to be told I'm wrong, but as I understand it, one of the standards is the number one thing is get the guy, get the shooter, stop him. Forget other kinds of procedures you might use in other circumstances. Forget calling in the hostage negotiating team. Take the guy out and stop the guy from killing kids. That's the response that supposedly police are supposed to have. This guy was waiting for his boss to say, okay, you can go get him. Thank you, sir. I wouldn't have known that on my own. And how about this? In Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, police say there also was the potential for a 4th of July mass shooting there. They had a tip from a guy who overheard a conversation about a mass shooting being planned for the 4th of July. They called police. The police were able to track it down and bring it to an end. Man, mass shootings in America. I mean, they never stop. They just never stop. We have a lot to do in the next couple of hours. Stick around. Plenty of good conversation, including a look at the Hope Scholarship being stopped completely by Joanna Tabbitt, Kanawha County judge. We'll talk about that with Brad McElhaney. And the homeless situation in the city of Wheeling. We'll have Chad Thalman, the vice mayor, in on that. And your texts and your calls, and Bob and I will kick some things around. But right now, ABC covers the world at 8 o'clock.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson announcing minutes ago he will be stepping down.
It is clearly now the will of the Parliamentary Conservative Party that there should be a new leader of that party and therefore a new Prime Minister. And I've agreed with Sir Graham Brady, the chairman of our backbench MPs, that the process of choosing that new leader should begin now.
Johnson's administration had been plagued by a series of scandals, including holding parties during COVID lockdown and promoting a member of his own party to a key post, even though Johnson knew of sexual misconduct allegations against him. As the first court appearance is held for the alleged Highland Park, Illinois shooter, the 21-year-old man's father is speaking out. Here's ABC's Alex Stone.
Robert Cremo Jr. is the alleged shooter's father, agreeing to talk to ABC News. Cremo Jr. claims before the 4th of July, he and his wife asked their son if he had any plans for the holiday and that he said no. If he saw any red flags before the shooting, he tells us,
not an inkling, warning that, something like this was going to happen. I mean, the night before, 13 hours earlier, I spent almost an hour with him.
We know Cremo Jr. will be investigated by police for signing off to allow his son to buy a gun underage. Alex Stone, ABC News, Highland Park, Illinois.
A new report on the Uvalde shootings showing that a police officer had the gunman in his sights but did not take the shot because he was waiting for his supervisor's permission.
The assessment from Texas State University's Advanced Law Enforcement Rapid Response Training said the officer turned to get confirmation from his supervisor, and by the time he turned back, the suspect had entered the school. Given the circumstances, the assessment said the officer could have concluded himself use of deadly force was warranted.
That's ABC's Aaron Katursky. Jailed basketball star Brittany Griner returns to a Russian courtroom today for her trial amid growing calls for Washington to do more to secure her release. You're listening to ABC News.
How long does it take to tackle a home project? With Angie, you could cross it off your list before this ad is over. Just tell us what you need, indoor or outdoor, repair or redesign, and we handle the rest, sending a top pro to get it done. You don't have to lift a finger, except to tap the screen or click the mouse. Plus, Angie is free to use. So bring us your next home project, and we'll bring it home. Download the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com to get started.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Another sentencing today, this time in federal court for the former cop convicted of kneeling on George Floyd's neck, killing him in March of 2020.
Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was already sentenced to 22.5 years in state court for the murder of George Floyd, and today he'll be sentenced in federal court for violating Floyd's civil rights. Chauvin made a plea deal in December, agreeing to a 20 to 25-year sentence. Prosecutors want 25 years, saying this murder was in cold blood, while Chauvin's defense is asking for 20, saying he accepts responsibility. As part of the deal, he would serve both sentences at the same time, but in federal prison, which could have more favorable conditions. Lionel Moyes, ABC News.
Airports across the country are getting help to expand. The Biden administration this morning announcing grants totaling nearly $1 billion to upgrade terminals. The Bulls are running again. Racing through the narrow streets of Pamplona, Spain, Bulls and people shoulder to shoulder for the first time since the start of the pandemic. Among those running in the San Fermin Festival, American Don Story.
It was brilliant. The waiting was almost harder than the run. We waited and waited and waited, and then all of a sudden the Bulls were there, and there was lots of people.
And nobody was seriously hurt or gored, but several runners did get bumps and bruises. This is ABC News.
At the United States Postal Service, we deliver packages fast and affordably, so you can give your customers what they want when they need it. We're delivering for one-stop shops, mom and pops, pop-ups, startups, retail, wholesale, large scale, small biz, big box, customers, customizers. So no matter what business you're in, we'll always be delivering for you. USPS, delivering for America. Learn more at USPS.com/delivering.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network. When police executed a search warrant for drugs at a home in Mogador near Akron, they ended up calling the Portage County Animal Protective League for help because of what else they found. ONN's Kate Burdett explains.
According to the Portage County Sheriff's Office, the menagerie included a cat, several dogs, alligators, a snapping turtle, tarantulas, snakes, ferrets, and hundreds of fish. The Portage County Sheriff's Office says investigators also found firearms, ammunition, drugs, and other items commonly used in the distribution of controlled substances. The Sheriff's Office is also working with Portage County Job and Family Services regarding a juvenile who lives in the residence.
There are more than 30,000 power customers in Ohio without electricity this morning. Most of them in the Cincinnati area, where a radar-confirmed tornado touched down yesterday afternoon, badly damaging the Goshen Township Fire Station, along with many homes and businesses. Injuries were minor. A warning from doctors about too much vitamin D. Tracy Townsend with ONN affiliate WBNS-TV in Columbus explains.
Researchers reported in a medical journal that a middle-aged man taking 7 times the recommended level was hospitalized with severe kidney issues triggered by high calcium levels in his blood. The study's authors say people may not realize that it is possible to overdose on vitamin D, and they caution that these cases are on the rise. I'm Tracy Townsend.
And I'm Dave James on the Ohio News.
304-214-1600. Call the Watchdog with your thoughts. We'll be right back to Local Talk.
Cybersecurity attacks can cripple and even force a small business to close. Does your organization have a focused approach to being cyber resilient? If you can't answer yes, you should contact Omni Strategic Technologies to help you identify the steps to protect your data and reputation from the very real cyber threats that exist today. Schedule your free consultation by calling Omni at 304-242-7600 or online at omniperforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only cybersecurity firm that the Watchdog trusts.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster with a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Partly cloudy skies prevailing, a daytime high near 86 degrees. Your overnight low of 64 under partly cloudy conditions. You'll see partly cloudy skies to start your Friday. A few occasional showers through the afternoon and maybe a rumble of thunder before it's all said and done. A high near 84. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Great conversation continues now on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Welcome aboard for a Thursday. It is the Watchdog Morning Show, brought to you by WVU Medicine. I'm Howard Monroe in the home studios. Behind the board, behind the glass, pushing buttons and doing his best to keep me under control is executive producer of the program, Bob Slider. Trust that you know who you are. You're welcome to be part of the program anytime that the mood strikes you. Text line is open, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. Just text in. Whatever you want to say. You want to talk about me? You want to talk about Bob? You want to talk about the issues that we're talking about? Want to talk about things we're not talking about? Text line is available. You can even give us a call when we have time. We'll try and get you in on the Frio Stack Auction Service hotline at 304-232-8255, 304-232-TALK. It is the Frio Stack Auction Service hotline. Feel free to use that. 70 degrees right now at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 69 at the Highlands, 71 here at my home studios, and 68 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. The early morning fog has begun to fade away. Sun is trying to peek through. There's still some clouds out there, and they will be with us a good bit of the day, but they're starting to at least see some sunshine out there this morning. Coming up today, big story yesterday out of Charleston. Kanawha County Judge Joanna Tabbitt halted the Hope Scholarship Program. That's the one that takes money from public education dollars and gives them to gives them to parents to use for private schools or charter schools, those kinds of things. Taking money from public education, transferring it to private education. Joanna Tabbitt yesterday declared that to be unconstitutional and granted injunctive relief that was asked for by the defendants, and she said it will be a permanent injunction against the Hope Scholarship. Now, that is obviously going to be appealed, so it's not the final say, but it's a big deal. Metro News reporter Brad McElhenney in later on with us to update that this hour. Also, Brad and I will talk about Governor Justice yesterday, once again saying he wants a special session on the legislature to talk about an income tax cut. He says there's a huge amount of revenue surplus this year, and why not give people a tax cut? Now, he's been proposing this for at least 3 years. I think it's been 3 years. He's been shot down by the legislature every time. Is this the time it succeeds? We'll talk about that with Brad as well. And Roger Hanshaw, the Speaker of the House, has outlined the way he wants to approach reviewing the abortion law in West Virginia in the wake of Roe v. Wade being overturned. But Hanshaw really raised some questions about Attorney General Patrick Morrissey's comments. We'll get into that with Brad, all coming up later on this morning. A dramatically scaled down Build Back Better bill is focused mainly on Medicare drug negotiations. It does seem to have Joe Manchin's support. If Manchin's on board, it's likely to pass. And that's a pretty big deal. It's not going to be the old big Build Back Better bill, but a very dramatically scaled down version, and they're still talking about that. We'll tell you what's going on with that. Wheeling Council this week heard a second proposal for a new homeless shelter. Vice Mayor Chad Thalman will give us his initial thoughts on that coming up a little bit later on as well. So that's a bit of what I have for you. What do you have for me? Feel free to text or to call, and we will chat. Let's see. Bob, we were talking about phone usage. Aaron Myler was saying he doesn't take pictures when he's on vacation. He likes to live in the moment. And I admit that I probably spend too much time on my phone. Although I also will defend myself saying that's kind of what I do. All day long, I'm just kind of always looking for things to bring to the show. That's the way I live my life to get ready for the morning show, is by constantly scanning what's online. But off the text line, Howie, you are addicted to your phone. You have FOMO, fear of missing out. Do you think I have FOMO, Bob? Do I have FOMO, fear of missing out?
In all seriousness, yes, Howard. You just can't stand to not have your phone right there. I see it when we're at lunch. I see it when we hang out. We don't hang out that much, but it's me, you, and your phone. It's just never me and you. It's me, you, and your phone.
But what if somebody important is trying to contact me?
It'll wait, Howard. It'll still be there.
Oh.
As long as it's not your heart doctor, your kidney doctor, your dentist, you're all right. Let it go.
I don't think I can. I think I might need help. I do spend an awful lot of time.
You're a FOMO, Howard. Admit it.
I'm sorry, what? Oh, a FOMO. Yes. Yes, I am a FOMO. Also, off the text line, 304-214-1600. This is an interesting question. Talking about mass shootings, Bob, and they're literally every week now, sometimes every day. I just had 3 mass shooting stories right before the newscast. One from Uvalde a couple of weeks ago, the parade shooting in 4th of July. In Richmond, Virginia, there was a mass shooting planned, but the police got a tip and were able to stop it. I mean, they become so commonplace. I've said this before. I don't always bring them to the show to talk about it anymore because they're so commonplace. Somebody says, you wonder how they got started. And this is an interesting concept. He said, I wonder if it all goes back to the school book depository shooting and Lee Harvey Oswald. Did Lee Harvey Oswald, way back then, was he the first of these? He wasn't a mass shooter, obviously. It was an assassination, not a mass shooting. But was he the first guy to climb up into a building and people started to follow suit after that? I don't remember. Bob, you studied that time period. Were there copycat shootings after the Kennedy assassination?
I'm sorry, Howard. I had to step away. Did you ask that question?
That's right. I said, listener here says he wonders if all of these shootings go back, all the way back to Lee Harvey Oswald, if he was the first guy that people began to copycat from. Now, obviously, he wasn't a mass shooter. He was a targeted shooter. It was an assassination attempt. But I don't know. Were there I don't remember this. Were there copycats after Lee Harvey Oswald?
No, I don't believe that. I mean, I was 1 year old, but they paraded, when you did get a glimpse of Lee Harvey, he was paraded out there as the criminal that he was. He was treated as a criminal. What really got my goat yesterday, and I wasn't very popular around the station. I wasn't very popular with you and then the watchdog guys, because I'm going, hey, because they're asking the question, how do you stop this? Well, I'm this close to vigilante justice. I'm this close of saying, look what happens to you if you do something like this, and do it live on TV. Instead of this kid smirking at everybody, laughing at everybody, and said, oh, guess what? I was going to do it again.
Well, I said, I philosophically agree with you. I'm still not into the eye for an eye kind of thing, but I get it. I'm looking for these. There were a couple of text messages left over this morning from yesterday. I can't find them now. They were agreeing, basically they were agreeing with you that, shoot the guy, just shoot the guy.
Let me see that smirk now, buddy, because you're 30 seconds away of, we're going to kill you. Let me see that smirk now. We'll all smirk. We'll all get a grin out of this.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to I can't find it. Anyways, several people actually were online when I got here this morning from yesterday, basically saying that they think that your point was well taken. All right, so, all right, text me if you want to, 304-214-1600. You can text about my FOMO, fear of missing out, or you can text about mass shootings, or you can text about the Hope Scholarship or anything else that is on your mind. Howard, let me see here. Howard, you are not that important. Put down your phone. What?
Well, that was kind of harsh. I mean, geez.
I'm not that important. What? People want to talk to me. I thought I was important. My wife tells me that all the time, too. You're not that important. Put down the phone. All right. Text me if you'd like to, or call us on the Frio Stack Auction Service hotline, 304-232-8255. We have come to expect certain things since the beginning of COVID. We expected to be able to go get a vaccine when we needed one, no cost and no questions asked. We expected to be able to go get COVID tests as many times as we wanted to, no cost for us. A lot of folks had received a lot of extra money because of the child care tax credit increase that had occurred before. The Affordable Care Act had some additional discounts for folks because of the COVID funding that came through. Here's the problem. COVID funding is running out, and some of the stuff that we've taken as the norm for a while is not going to be the norm anymore. We're going to talk about how that might impact the Affordable Care Act and your health care costs coming up next on the Watchdog Morning Show.
If you missed the last talk line, you missed the breaking news by Brad McElhenney. The Kanawha County Circuit Court Judge Joanna Tabbitt declared unconstitutional the Hope Scholarship that diverts public money to private schools.
Looking at her wording at the end, she said the Hope Scholarship, she has concluded first, is unconstitutional, said it is null and void based on her decision today, and issued both temporary and permanent injunctions.
Keep up on what's happening in West Virginia. Talk line weekdays at 10:06 on this Metro News station.
Follow us on Facebook for the latest news, show updates, podcasts, alerts, and live video streams from the Valley's only network dedicated to local, community-driven talk radio, The Watchdog.
West Virginians are resilient. We are as strong as our mountains, and our future is limitless. It's a future we're building right now by investing in aviation education, by expanding military and civil aircraft support services to draw people and jobs to our state. And with our port of entry at West Virginia International Yeager Airport, which welcomes people from throughout the world, we're building West Virginia's future right now. And it starts at home.
CA House Music has all the gear to make your music legendary. With all the best gear, including Fender, Epiphone, Yamaha, and more, CA House will have you rocking in no time. Get the most for your money with everyday low prices. And we meet or beat internet pricing. Play before you buy and let our product specialists help you pick out the instrument that's right for you. CA House Music, supporting local musicians since 1872. Play music for life.
Watch out! He could climb on his soapbox at any time. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
$8:19 Watchdog Morning Show. It's a Thursday underway. Glad you're along here for the conversational ride. Jeremy Smith is Program Director for First Choice Services, which is the Affordable Care Act Navigator Program in West Virginia, helping people navigate their way through the Affordable Care Act and finding the right kind of subsidies and the right program for them and so on and so forth. And Jeremy, welcome to the show. As I said before the break, I think one of the problems we have right now is a lot of folks don't realize how much of what we've come to expect to be the norm over the last couple of years in a variety of different ways because of various COVID funding bills are not going to be the norm forever, right?
Yeah, definitely. And, that's something that we're looking at right now with the cost of health care. We knew during the pandemic that there was just thousands of families that was losing their jobs and therefore their health coverage. So they made it a little bit easier, and they made some updates to the program to make it more affordable. And what we're looking at right now is some of those enhanced subsidies for folks that get their insurance on the marketplace. Those potentially could go away at the end of this year unless they're extended again.
Well, they will go away, right? Unless Congress takes a positive. I mean, they will go away unless there's affirmative action by Congress to extend them. Am I correct about that?
Right. Yep. The current enhanced subsidies that we're looking at, that was part of the American Rescue Plan And they're set to end at the end of this year.
Do we have any sense of how many people in West Virginia have been impacted by the reduced or the expanded subsidies, therefore the reduced costs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's between 20 and 25,000 people on the health insurance marketplace in West Virginia right now. And ultimately, I mean, pretty much everybody that signed up this year was able to take advantage of these enhanced subsidies. So what it did is it made all the plans more affordable, and it also removed the income cap. It used to be that if you made even $1 over the limit, you couldn't get any help on your health insurance at all. And this kind of changed that. It prorated how much you would pay, even for folks that earn a little bit more than the cutoff. So, yeah, I mean, it's really helped pretty much everybody that signed up. And, you know, I've been doing this work since the program launched clear back in 2013. And what we'd seen over the years is the prices kind of tick up every year. And it had kind of gotten to the point, even right before the pandemic, that a lot of folks were really struggling to be able to afford the plans on the marketplace. So this actually came at a perfect time. It kind of, in my opinion, it really saved the program. It made it to where people could get good quality health insurance plans again.
It was a COVID-inspired funding program, but it really was necessary even without COVID. Just the prices were going up, and there was a need to see some additional help with the subsidies. How big a deal does the expanded program? I mean, does it mean a difference in $5 a month or $500 a month or somewhere in between? How big a deal is it if this additional subsidy is not continued?
It was a huge deal. Like I mentioned, I've been doing this since the beginning, and this was the most excited that I'd ever seen people when they went to sign up, because they actually did feel that they could afford it. You know, me personally, as I was helping people, I saw a lot of people save an average of anywhere between $100 and $300 a month. And, you know, for the first time ever, I saw more often than not, somebody could qualify for a plan for under $50 a month. So it really did make a difference. And, you know, it's led to this record number of enrollees across the country as well, because they can actually afford it and get good quality coverage.
There seemed to have been an awareness a couple of years ago, as COVID began to spread around the country, that the government really needed to step up and do something, and it kind of crossed political lines a good bit in the beginning. But my fear is that the imminent threat of COVID in many people's minds has passed. Therefore, the imminent need for assistance is gone. And I'm not so, and I think we're back to our normal political divide now on this, although we had bipartisanship, I think, when the American Rescue Plan was passed. So it makes me nervous, Jeremy, whether this has a chance of succeeding or not in terms of being extended.
Yeah, me too. I mean, to me, it just makes really good sense to get this extended, because what it's done is it's just strengthened the program, and it's made it to where people can actually afford it. And what we're worried about is if this doesn't get extended, studies are showing, you know, at least 5,000 people will likely drop out. And at that point, the only people that's going to be kind of sticking in with the program are folks that absolutely have to have health insurance. And what that does is it just kind of creates a risk pool that, you know, has a lot of older, sicker people in it, and it doesn't have any balance to it anymore. And that's what often causes the prices to go up every year. So, you know, we're really hopeful that it is extended and that people can keep these good prices and they're able to keep their health coverage for them and their family. Because not only that, I mean, we know how important having health insurance is. You know, it can lead you to be able to go to the doctor and catch problems before they become big ones, and, you know, kind of catch heart attacks before they happen or cancer before it happens. So it's really important to have insurance and be able to go to the doctor and just take care of yourself.
You know, there used to be a time when there was sort of a political cliche or philosophy, I guess, that you never took something away from people. If you had given it to folks, you never took it away. That's no longer the case. We're seeing a lot of the things that happened during COVID being taken back, notably Recently, the child care tax credit, which had been expanded, was a huge help to an awful lot of people in West Virginia and elsewhere, and it really helped literally to rise them out of poverty. But then when it expired, that was the end of it, and it wasn't continued. Used to be you wouldn't think about taking things away, but now there's less of a concern about that. At least politically, it seems to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're definitely right. But on this one, I mean, me personally, I'm hopeful that, you know, it can get across the finish line and that they can, you know, renew it for at least another year. To me, it just makes sense. I mean, it's helped so many people, and people, I think they really need this, you know, to make it affordable and make sure that them and their family are covered. And, you know, it's just so important to have health insurance, and we're afraid that if this doesn't get renewed, a lot of the people that's coming to me that I help, you know, they're worried about being able to afford it next year.
Is there some plan afoot? I mean, is there a bill pending, or is there talk afoot in Congress to extend this, or is it still in limbo right now?
You know, I don't know of any specific bill or what they're doing at the federal level. I mean, you know, I'm more talking from the aspect of from the ground level about what we do and how we help people, and, you know, kind of help them sign up and what they're coming back to us and telling us. So, you know, we're not real sure exactly where it's at, but we just want to let people know that that the insurance that they have this year, that could definitely change next year if they don't renew those enhanced subsidies again.
Well, so my last question, is there some sense of urgency to make some changes now, individuals I'm talking about, so that it's in the event that the subsidies expire, you at least you're taking advantage of the longest extension of them? Should people look at changing their plans now, or re-up their plans now?
So there's nothing they can do now. The next open enrollment period for the 2023 plans will be November 1st through January 15th of 2023. And at that point, I think that's when we'll know for sure on what kind of pricing we'll be looking at for folks. So, you know, the best advice I can give everybody is just kind of hold tight, but don't put your health care off either. You know, if you needed to go to the doctor, or you needed to check in on, you know, a certain procedure or something like that, it might be a good idea to definitely don't put it off, because, you know, we really don't know what will happen. But, you know, I'm hopeful that, you know, this just makes so much sense that it will make it into next year's plans as well.
Jeremy, before I let you go, what can you personally, Jeremy Smith, and your First Choice Services group, the Navigator group, what can you do to help people? How do you help people through Affordable Care, getting through the Affordable Care Act process?
Yeah, so we're an absolutely free grant-funded program. We was able to get funding from the federal government just to create this free program and help people find and sign up for health insurance coverage. So, you know, if you or a family member's out there and you're a West Virginia resident and you don't have health coverage, or if you have questions about your health coverage, we're a free program, and you can come to us and we'll either help you figure out how to get signed up, or talk to you about the different options and talk to you about the deductibles and co-pays, really whatever you need. So it's a great program, no strings attached. It's just a service to the community. So if somebody has questions about how to get health coverage, they can reach out to us. Our website's wvnavigator.com, or toll free, you can call us 844-WV-CARES. And, you know, there's still a lot we can do, even though we're not in open enrollment right now. So my advice to somebody is, if they don't have health insurance, it's still worth reaching out to us to see if there's some way we can help.
All right. And again, how do they get in touch with the number?
It's toll free. It's 844-WV-CARES. And then our website, wvnavigator.com. And we've got all of our contact information there and a little bit more information about our program.
All right. Jeremy, appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for the work you do, and we'll talk to you again. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks.
Have a good day. Jeremy Smith is with First Choice Services, which is the Affordable Care Act West Virginia Navigator program. Navigators were put into place when the Affordable Care Act started because, let's be honest, navigating insurance is hard, and the Affordable Care Act has so many different options that they can help you work through if you need to. So give them a call at 844-WV-CARES or online, WVNavigator.com, and see what kind of services they have. But the point I want to make, and it's not just with the Affordable Care Act, it is with COVID vaccine funding, it is with COVID testing funding. This money is going to run out. In some cases has run out. And we have been used to having just, you go and get a vaccine, you go and get tested. How many times did people get tested? You know, sometimes 2, 3, 4 times a week when they had fear of COVID. Nobody worried about it. Just, what's your name? Just to keep a record of it. Boom, it's all taken care of. That's beginning to go away. So we've had a great little taste of what healthcare for all might be like. And I think most people have said, boy, this is pretty good, but it's going to go away unless Congress extends some of this stuff. Well, a lot of stuff happening in Charleston yesterday. Governor Justice wants to have an income tax cut. He's talked about this for several years, but now he wants to revisit it yet again. He's been rebuffed by the legislature every time. We'll talk about that coming up in a minute or two. And Justice Joanna Tabbitt in Kanawha County has shut down the Hope Scholarship Program. She says it's a permanent injunction. There will be an appeal of that, but that's a major deal and a huge blow to the legislature's attempt to remake West Virginia's education system. We'll talk about all of this with Brad McElhaney. That's coming up next here on the Watchdog Morning Show. It is 8:33, 27 till the hour. We're looking at 70 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 69 at the Highlands, 71 here at the home studios, and 68 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Let's check in with some sports, and first, before we do that, let's get some news from the Big Seven. Stephanie is here. Good morning, Steph.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm Stephanie Grinley with your 7 News headlines for July 7th. It's the end of an era and the beginning of a new one for an iconic Wheeling business. 3 familiar faces at Neely's Grocery are retiring in Wheeling. Rod Miller and his brothers Lance and Scott will be stepping back from their roles to work part-time. Rod, working full-time for 43 years, tells us that his twin brother Todd and his niece Maria are buying them out and will take over the reins of the neighborhood grocery store. Across the state, according to a news release from the West Virginia State Police, after a car chase and a crash in Raleigh County, a shootout ensued as onlookers filmed from their cars at an intersection. According to the police, the armed suspect exited the vehicle brandishing a handgun. Then responding officers deployed multiple rounds of bullets, killing the suspect. The investigation remains active and ongoing. President Joe Biden used an Ohio visit to showcase federal action aimed at shoring up pensions for millions of workers. It's part of a broader effort to reinvigorate his political standing with blue-collar voters. Ohio has been trending strongly Republican recently, with Donald Trump easily carrying it twice. But Democrats have hopes of winning a Senate seat that is coming open. The president announced a federal rule change that will allow major new financial support for troubled pensions that cover some 2 million to 3 million workers. And that was a look at your 7 News headlines. I'm Stephanie Grinley. Have a great Thursday, everyone.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash, powered by The Score on the Watchdog. I'm John Thayer. Baseball action yesterday, Brandon Nimmo hit a 3-run home run, capping off a 5-run 10th inning as the Mets beat the Reds in extra innings 8-3. The Mets in the victory pounded out 16 hits in the win. The Reds had 5 hits in the losing effort. They fall to 28-53. Pirates couldn't get it going against the Yankees. They lose 16-0. 22 hits for the Yankees, just 5 for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Mitch Keller suffered the loss. He drops to 2-6. The Orioles winners at home with the Texas Rangers. 2-1, the final score. Spencer Watkins earned the win. He's now 2-1. And the Nationals winners in Philadelphia. They beat the Phillies 3-2. Josiah Gray, the victory. He's 7-5. For lightning fast sports updates as they happen, download the free Score app today. I'm John Thayer with the Sports Flash, powered by The Score on the Watchdog.
Now, you know, when it came to my KFC meal, I had to put some thought into it.
KFC, man, take your order.
So I started off with a warm and toasted brioche bun. Word of advice, do not sleep on brioche buns. They're French and they're fire. Come on. Now, for the star of the show, have you ever seen such a beautiful chicken sandwich? You gotta make mine spicy. Add a side of mac and cheese, secret recipe fries, ranch, and an ice-cold lemonade. And there you have it. Check out the new Jack Harlow meal at KFC.
Order ahead or on the KFC app today. Prices and participation may vary.
For nearly 100 years, folks have trusted Blue Star medicated ointment to relieve the pain and itching of almost any skin irritation.
It works on my son's dry itching feet and their jock itch.
I had this rash on my neck. Nothing worked until Blue Star.
Blue Star worked great on my ringworm without steroids.
My wife and I have been using Blue Star for years. It's never let us down.
Look for the white box with the Blue Star in the first aid section. Feel Blue Star work fast, or your money back.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Introducing our new redesigned 7 News app. Our new app features a sleek, modern design, an easy-to-navigate home screen with quick access to local news content and a localized weather forecast. Subscribing to notifications is easier, and with one tap, you have access to recent push notifications. There are more ways to watch and find video. To get the new WTRF 7 News app, just update the latest version or download the WTRF 7 News app in your Apple or Google Play Store by searching WTRF.
Summer is here at your Toyota dealer. Check out Toyota's wide range of hybrid vehicles with incredible MPGs, like a new RAV4 hybrid with available all-wheel drive and more cargo room than ever before. Or travel in style in a new Highlander hybrid with cutting-edge tech and plenty of space for the whole family. Visit buyatoyota.com, the official website for deals. But hurry, offers end August 1st. Reserve yours today. Toyota, let's go places.
It's the summer's hottest party, the Circus Saints and Sinners Party on the Plaza Music and Food Festival. The fun happens Saturday, July 9th at the Plaza on Market in downtown Wheeling. Get tickets at partyontheplaza.org.
He has his say. You can have yours. Text us or call us and join the conversation. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Watchdog Morning Show brought to you by WVU Medicine here on FM 98.1, 97.7, AM 1600, AM 1370, and always at watchdognetwork.com. Yes, you can text us if you'd like to, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. That is the text line. Happy to have you on the text line. Or you can give us a phone call. Always happy to hear from you on phone lines. The Frio Stack Auction Service hotline is open and ready for you at 304-232-8255, 304-232-TALK. The Frio Stack Auction Service hotline. Many ways for you to get through. You can email me, radiomonroe@aol.com. You can tweet. I tweet at Radio Monroe. Post some things on my Facebook page. Any which way you want to get in touch, feel free to do so. Simplest and easiest things to do, though, when the show is on, use the text line, use the phone line. It's 8:40, 20 till the hour, just around 70 degrees, give or take a degree everywhere here in the upper Ohio Valley. The early morning fog fading away, and the sun is coming out. It's going to be clouds mixed with it throughout the day today, or high up to around the low 80s, but not a bad day. Not a bad day in store at all. Down in Charleston yesterday, man, a trio of subjects, all of which are like hot-button subjects. Down in Charleston, they talked about taxes, abortion, and education funding, all part of the discussions coming out of the state capitol yesterday. Brad McElhaney is with us here from Metro News to talk about those issues. Brad, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Howard. This is just a private conversation between me and you, right? So,
yes,
so
sir.
I'll pull
Yes,
the
absolutely.
curtain off. The behind-the-scenes news gathering process at Metro News. I have a daily call with Hoppy just to sort of size things up and what are the priorities and where are we going with things. And so we talk about those things. We talked about Hope Scholarship and where does that go from here. We talked about the governor's income tax proposal, cutting 10% is what he would like to do. We talked about, well, where is this abortion policy going in West Virginia? And then Hoppy has a habit of saying, what else? And at the end of all that, he says, what else we got? I said, that's enough.
We need more. I need more, for heaven's sakes. Abortion, taxes, education funding. How are we going to make a whole segment out of that, Brad? Huh? How can we?
What else we got?
Yeah, what else we got? I'm not sure
Please
what else
show
we
some leniency, sir.
It did turn out to be a surprisingly busy day. Probably when you got up in the morning yesterday, you weren't expecting nearly as much activity. You were covering the Hope Scholarship, but I'm not sure. I know as I knew the Hope Scholarship hearing was getting underway. I really didn't expect quite the ruling we got, and I didn't expect to get it so fast either.
No, I mean, judges have different styles, and sometimes the judge will sort of take things under consideration and go back and hold things in abeyance and come out with something written later on. But that's not what Judge Tabbitt did. She was ready to rule and had organized her thoughts right away, and came out and said that the Hope Scholarship, which if some of your listeners maybe are unfamiliar, it's the scholarship that allows parents, families to take a portion of what would have been their school aid formula money and divert it towards educational products, educational stuff of their choosing, whether that's private school or books or the cost of some sort of extracurricular activity or whatever. But it's essentially for students leaving the public schools and doing something else. So the judge.
The argument from the folks bringing the suit was that the state has a constitutional responsibility to fund public education, not private education. That was, I think, the essence of the suit, right?
Yeah, and their contention and what the judge wound up saying she buys into is that undercuts the public schools in a couple of ways. One is that it's an incentive for students to leave and go do something else. So those students are no longer in the public school system, and the way the school aid formula works is it's the number of students in the system. So, the fewer students you have, the less money is going to support your local schools. And then secondly, the amount of money itself. It's been about 3,000 students who have applied for and received the Hope Scholarship for the first year. And this year, they are receiving a little more than $4,000 each. So if you do that math, it's about $13,000 the state is putting toward those students. And it could be more in the future. I mean, this is just the first year, and it's year after year after year. So there was a legislative estimate to say that it could be up to $100 million a year. And what the judge wound up saying is how West Virginia has always been strapped for resources, for money when it comes to education. How can West Virginia do this and sustain it and still say it's supporting the public schools?
So Judge Tabbitt basically said, this is layman's terms, but essentially she said that the law is unconstitutional, right?
She absolutely did say the law is unconstitutional, and that was her words. I mean, I don't know if it makes a difference, but the plaintiffs were asking for an injunction, and she said that she was issuing both a temporary and permanent injunction and was dismissing the case. So that's pretty definitive. But on the other hand, I think even prior to the hearing, we all observers probably thought, well, whatever happens here, it's going to go to the state Supreme Court. And sure enough, within just a couple of hours, those on the losing side of the case, the Attorney General, the Treasurer, the lawyers who were representing some citizens who want to use the Hope Scholarship, all said that they do intend to appeal.
Many of the supporters of this plan, particularly Republican leadership in the legislature, touted this as one of their great successes. I mean, they've been aiming for this for several years, incrementally. This is what they wanted to see. So, I mean, there has to probably be a little bit of fuming being done by legislative leadership right now, because this is basically undercutting one of the biggest things that they've been crowing about since the session was done.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a lot of legislative reaction so far because, as you said, there was so much going on yesterday that sort of attention wound up being split. But, there have been some legislators who supported the Hope Scholarship who have alluded not only to the possibility of an appeal to the Supreme Court, but also potentially taking a second look at the way that bill was worded and constructed, West Virginia was considered to have had the widest policy of any in America regarding this sort of transfer of funds. All right, take the money and use it the way you want it. And
Right.
some states have sort of narrowly focused it on students who have disabilities, who are seeking some alternate way to deal with whatever disability they have. For West Virginia, though, it was wide open for anyone leaving the public school system. And, as a sort of subplot, there was some discussion yesterday of whether there's sort of you gotta, unless you're a kindergartner, never going to the public school system at all. In those cases, your family could go ahead and apply for the Promise or for the Hope Scholarship. But otherwise, there's a requirement that you be in the public school system for 45 days. And there was this series of questions before the judge yesterday about, could you essentially game the system by leaving your private school or your homeschooling situation or whatever, entering a public school for 45 days, and then applying for the scholarship and collecting it to go back to whatever your situation previously was. So, some of those questions about just how loose the scholarship is and whether it should be more narrowly tailored for people with particular education needs is one of the questions that I think remains out there.
And that gaming the system scenario you just outlined there, that is not pie in the sky. There was active discussion about that among some folks. I remember there would have been a meeting of some kind in Charleston of a group of private school parents who were actually being said, hey, here's what you can do. Get your kids into public school, let them stay there for 45 days, then you get this money. So that's not this gaming the system is not some crazy idea that somebody thought up to make a point. There were people talking about doing that. And maybe they did do it, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what became of that, but I remember that story. That was Ryan Quinn from the Gazette-Mail reporting that, and he had coverage of that particular meeting where the scenario was being discussed, and it was a factor that came up in court yesterday.
This is the I don't know that they were defendants, and maybe they were, you can tell me, but this is what the teachers' unions were certainly hoping to see. I haven't talked yet to any of the teacher union officials. I will do that probably today and on the air maybe tomorrow, but this is what they were certainly hoping to see, because they have argued all along that this is a defunding of public education bill, and that's not appropriate, they've said.
Yeah, we got response almost immediately from Fred Albert of the American Federation of Teachers, West Virginia, saying that he and the organization were pleased by Judge Tabbitt's ruling. I didn't necessarily hear from the WVEA, the other big teachers union, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have a similar response. I just didn't hear so many people responding. And then, for something that's essentially a scholarship, boy, my social media feed was blowing up with people responding one way or another. A lot of people with strong feelings in favor of school choice who were empathetic to the kinds of families I described, where maybe there are special education needs where the family has assessed that they are not available in their nearby public school system, who would hope to use that money. So those kinds of responses from people in favor of the scholarship, and then just a wave of responses from people who have concluded that the Hope Scholarship undercuts the public school system and is, in their view, meant to drain resources away and weaken the public school system. A lot of that as well.
So, Brad, at this moment, excuse me, at this moment, for folks who are thinking of putting their kids into a private or a charter school or something next fall, or who already had plans for that $4,300, they need to rethink their plans, at least at this moment, right?
Yeah, I heard some criticism of the timing because, I literally don't know if checks had gone out, but the state was well into the process of approving applications. And, of course, it feels like, on the one hand, summer just started, but once you hit 4th of July, it's like, oh, school's coming up. And so a lot of these families who had thought they were going to do whatever with the money are going to have to make other plans. But, boy, I certainly wouldn't blame the judge for that, and I don't know really when would be a good time to make this kind of decision. maybe it may be better to have, if this is going to be the outcome, it may be better to go ahead and do it before the program was fully underway. I mean, if you did it next year and all these same students had a year of whatever, alternate schooling, and then this decision came out and you halted the program after these families had already been reliant on it for a year or so, I don't know that would be any better.
Well, it's a huge story, a bit of a surprise. Yes, I didn't expect to be talking about this today, but there it is, and we'll see how it plays out. Brad, I don't normally ask you this. Can you hold on for a minute or two? Because executive producer Bob Slider has a very large hammer that he's hitting me on the head with and says I have to do a quick commercial break. Can you stick just long enough to talk about the income tax?
We've got to have revenue. If we have revenue, we can get to the next segment.
There we go. All right. 8 before the hour. Let's make it a quick one, Bob, and Brad McElhaney and I will continue. I want to talk about the governor's proposal again for an income tax cut.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy inherited properties, vacant homes, rentals, commercial properties, and apartment buildings. Give us a call today and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
The outdoor drama Tecumseh celebrates 50 years this summer. The drama, the history, and the spectacle make Tecumseh one of Ohio's most beloved traditions. Tecumseh has provided thrilling live entertainment for decades, and the outdoor theater at Sugarloaf Mountain will provide a safe and memorable experience for your entire family. Get tickets now at tecumsehdrama.com. This message is made possible in part by the Ohio Arts Council. Tecumseh, experience the drama.
Cybersecurity attacks can cripple and even force a small business to close. Does your organization have a focused approach to being cyber resilient? If you can't answer yes, you should contact Omni Strategic Technologies to help you identify the steps to protect your data and reputation from the very real cyber threats that exist today. Schedule your free consultation by calling Omni at 304-242-7600 or online at omniperforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only cybersecurity firm that the Watchdog trusts.
We are compassionate.
We are focused.
We are confident.
We are dependable.
We are resilient.
We are skilled.
We are empathetic.
We are knowledgeable.
We are respectful.
We are here.
For you and your family.
We are close to home. We are
WVU Medicine.
Broadcasting from the Ohio Valley, talking about the Ohio Valley. We're live and local. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
And indeed, the Watchdog Morning Show is brought to you by WVU Medicine. On the line this morning, if the Frio Stack Auction Service hotline is Brad McElhaney from Metro News. We were talking about the Hope Scholarship a minute ago. Big story on that developed yesterday. And then, as if that wasn't enough for you guys to be covering in Charleston, Brad, the governor comes back with a revisiting of his income tax cut plan.
Yeah, but a little more modest. He's talking about 10%, an aggregate 10% is what he said. And I don't totally understand what he means by aggregate, except for maybe the different tax brackets are a little bit different amounts. That's all I can think of. But 10% is what he's saying. He described it as adding up to about a $250 million impact to state revenue. I had not anticipated that at all because, you know, I thought we'd learned the hard way that even when the governor, the Senate, and the House of Delegates all say they want to do an income tax cut, sometimes they can't agree on the specifics and it becomes just a painful experience. But, you know, the governor is, he will say he's minding the store, that his administration is being very cautious on finances, and what they've got to show for it is at the end of the fiscal year, $1.3 billion ahead of what the revenue estimate had been. And it, you know, in hard times for people, we've talked about this before, gas prices up, the prices for everything, inflation hitting people, I think there's this political pressure to give a break, and so the governor, in a surprise not only to me and you, but seemingly to Senate President Blair and others, came out and said that he wants to go into a special session this month to push ahead with that 10% income tax break that I was just describing. The other way that it surprised me is, there have been debates about income tax the last few years, but the Senate in particular just put in abeyance all talk of it this past year because they have been preparing for the constitutional amendment that's going to be on ballots this fall that will allow the legislature to cut property taxes of various kinds, including the taxes on business and machinery, potentially on your vehicle. And that could be, according to estimates, up to a $500 million repercussion if they decide to do that. So, one question on my mind is, does that math work out? I mean, are the priorities what they were, or have they been kind of flipped, or are we going to do it all? And hopefully the governor can provide some answers on that.
The governor just has not been able to really get a consensus between the House, the Senate, and himself at all. And this is 3 years he's tried this? He's talked about a version of this. I think it's 3 years. And he's never been able to get all bodies to agree, and he's been rebuffed every time. Is the excessive, not excessive, but is the surplus amount of money that we have right now, is that his ace in the hole that he thinks will bring people to his side on this?
Yeah, I think so. And he's kind of simplified the idea. I mean, it's not a full phase out of the income tax. It's a 10% slice, which is still significant. And then the governor himself said yesterday that his prior plans were complicated and hard for him to sell. I mean, he had the income tax going down in prior years, but was trying to offset it so the state budget wouldn't crater, trying to offset it with sales tax increases largely, and applying sales tax to other things. And that's where legislators found themselves at odds with him. I mean, they agreed on the income tax, but they didn't want, they viewed repercussions with small businesses in their communities, and they didn't want to have to campaign on high raised sales tax.
Quickly, with just less than 30 seconds left, the $1.3 billion surplus, does that include some of the federal money left over, though, does it not?
It's not directly federal money, but you could suggest that it is the result of federal money stimulating the economy.
All right. Brad, good talking to you. A busy day yesterday. We'll see what happens today. You never know what's happening in Charleston. That's why we have you down there. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Howard.
Talk to you later. Brad will be on with Hoppy later on this morning. 9 o'clock on the Watchdog Morning Show. Homeless shelters in the city of Wheeling. Vice Mayor Chad Thalman going to join us to talk about that. Coming up next after ABC covers the world.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Following a series of scandals and amid mounting pressure from those in his Conservative Party, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has agreed to step down.
It's painful not to be able to see through so many ideas and projects myself. But as we've seen at Westminster, the herd instinct is powerful. When the herd moves, it moves.
Johnson, outside 10 Downing Street in London, has been facing scrutiny for holding parties during COVID lockdowns and for promoting a lawmaker who Johnson knew was accused of sexual misconduct. We are hearing today for the first time from the father of the alleged shooter in Highland Park, Illinois.
Robert Cremo Jr. says he and his wife were stunned when they learned their son was the one who police said had carried out the shooting, that he had seen his son's social media posts, but he thought it was all an act, and that previous mental health issues were just child outbursts. Cremo Jr. is now being investigated for signing off on his son getting a rifle underage. He tells ABC News all he did was allow police to do their work, looking into his background.
I filled out the consent form to allow my son to go through the process that the Illinois State Police have in place.
Alex Stone, ABC News, Highland Park, Illinois.
Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin will be sentenced in federal court today for violating George Floyd's civil rights. He has already agreed to a 20 to 25-year federal sentence. WNBA star Brittany Griner's Russian trial continues today. President Biden calling Griner's wife, while the family of another American detainee wonders why.
The family of Paul Whelan, an American detained in Russia since 2018, is slamming the president, saying he's never called them. Whelan's sister tweeting, "Still looking for that press release," saying President Biden has spoken to anyone in our family about Paul Whelan wrongfully detained in Russia for 3.5 years.
That's ABC's M. Wynn. You're listening to ABC News.
I tend to second-guess dinners with friends because they're often interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit Creon.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREON.com.
New questions about the moments before a gunman stormed into Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, and killed 19 children and 2 teachers. ABC's John Quinones says a teacher state report now says an officer spotted the shooter outside the school.
The report saying the officer, armed with a rifle, asked his supervisor for permission to shoot the suspect. However, the supervisor either didn't hear or responded too late. Adding, in this instance, the UPD officer would have heard gunshots and or reports of gunshots. And a reasonable officer would conclude in this case, based on the totality of the circumstances, that use of deadly force was warranted.
China today.
When the officer looked back at the suspect, he was entering the building.
China today accusing the U.S. of being, quote, the biggest threat to world peace, stability, and development. The accusations coming a day after the FBI and a top British official raised alarms about Chinese spying. A new look at Utah's Great Salt Lake shows a lake disappearing. The drought driving water levels to historic lows that is putting an entire local economy based around that lake at risk, as well as millions of migrating birds. And at the White House today, President Biden will honor 17 Americans with the nation's highest civilian award, the Medal of Freedom. Among the honorees, gymnast Simone Biles, soccer player Megan Rapinoe, and actor Denzel Washington. This is ABC News.
In the wee hours of the night, when everyone else is fast asleep, you're the one on third shift, burning the midnight oil. When a part fails and everything comes to a grinding halt, regardless of what the clock on the wall says, you leap into action. Grainger is with you and all the ones who get it done, with 24/7 customer support by phone or click to chat. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network. A tornado caused extensive damage yesterday afternoon at about 3 p.m. in an area about 25 miles northeast of Cincinnati. Yolanda Harris with ONN affiliate WBNS TV in Columbus has more.
Cleanup is underway after a radar-confirmed tornado ripped through the town of Goshen. The National Weather Service said the storm had winds higher than 70 miles per hour, knocking out power. A state of emergency has been declared, and there are 2 reported injuries.
The injuries are minor. The Goshen Township Fire Station was badly damaged by the tornado. Officials say hundreds of homes and businesses received at least some damage, but few were completely destroyed. President Joe Biden visited Cleveland yesterday to showcase a final rule tied to his $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package from last year. It allows troubled multi-company pensions to be made financially whole, ensuring full benefits for up to 3 million workers and retirees. Here's ONN's Andrew Kinsey.
The president pushed his administration's work to build up the economy in the wake of damages caused by the pandemic, which includes fixing pension problems.
Well, we've seen the risk of millions of workers face as they watch their hard-earned pensions turn into broken promises. We turn a promise broken into a promise kept.
I'm Andrew Kinsey.
The Cleveland Browns have traded quarterback Baker Mayfield to the Carolina Panthers for a future draft pick. The Panthers will pick up nearly half of Mayfield's remaining salary. I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network.
More live and local programming than anyone else in the Ohio Valley. The Watchdog returns in moments.
Cybersecurity attacks can cripple and even force a small business to close. Does your organization have a focused approach to being cyber resilient? If you can't answer yes, you should contact Omni Strategic Technologies to help you identify the steps to protect your data and reputation from the very real cyber threats that exist today. Schedule your free consultation by calling Omni at 304-242-7600 or online at omniperforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only cybersecurity firm that the Watchdog trusts.
Introducing our new redesigned 7 News app. Our new app features a sleek, modern design, an easy-to-navigate home screen with quick access to local news content and a localized weather forecast. Subscribing to notifications is easier, and with one tap, you have access to recent push notifications. There are more ways to watch and find video. To get the new WTRF 7 News app, just update the latest version or download the WTRF 7 News app in your Apple or Google Play Store by searching WTRF.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster with a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Partly cloudy skies prevailing, a daytime high near 86 degrees. Your overnight low of 64 under partly cloudy conditions. You'll see partly cloudy skies to start your Friday. A few occasional showers through the afternoon and maybe a rumble of thunder before it's all said and done. A high near 84. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
We're on air, online, on video, and on demand. Find us where you like us. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
You've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old past said. Boy, you got a friend in me.
We are your friends on the radio, Mr. Monroe and Slider, together here every weekday from 7 until 10, trying to keep you entertained, informed, and, all right, every once in a while a little irritated and agitated, but I think it's good to get your blood pressure up occasionally, because I know that mine gets up sometimes. Sorry, just calm down, Howard, calm down. Serenity now, serenity now. We've got 72 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 71 at the Highlands, 73 here at my home studios in Elm Grove, and 72 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. We have been all over the field today talking about the change in ownership at Neely's Grocery. Not going to be a big deal. It always is interesting when a long-time business hands things over to the younger generation. So, and also, since I think about Neely's and their chicken and their sandwiches and stuff, we had a good conversation about that earlier this morning. Lots of serious stuff coming out of Charleston. Kanawha County Judge Joanna Tabbitt has halted the Hope Scholarship Program, says it's unconstitutional to take public education money and give it to private school systems. So that decision is being appealed, but right now the Hope Scholarship Program is dead. Brad McElwain and I were talking about that in the last hour of the show. Meanwhile, Governor Justice once again pushing lawmakers for an income tax cut, and House Speaker Roger Hanshaw is a little distressed with the governor and the attorney general for trying to dictate what they want the legislature to do. Hanshaw says, we are the lawmakers. We'll decide how we are going to approach revising, revisiting, reviewing the abortion laws in West Virginia. Another big deadline looming for thousands of West Virginians who could face higher health care premiums if Congress doesn't act, having to do with the Affordable Care Act expanded subsidies that have been in place since COVID began, but they could be expiring. Jeremy Smith from the Affordable Health Care Act Navigator Program was with us to discuss that earlier. And in a minute or two, we'll talk about Wheeling Council hearing this week a second proposal for a new homeless shelter. And is that a good idea or not? The Vice Mayor is in to talk to us about that. Anywhere along the way you want to join the program, feel free to do so. You can text me, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600 if you'd like to do that. Or you can give us a call on the Frio Stack Auction Service hotline. Phone lines are open, 304-232-8255. React, reflect to some of the things we've talked about this morning, or take us off in new directions. You can do that when we have time. Feel free to call in. You can talk to me on the air. You can talk to Bob in the studio. No, not too long, though. He's got to pay attention to the air, what's going on in the air. But a lot of you like to call and talk to Bob as well. Did get a text, and look, all of us who do live radio, we sometimes misspeak. I do it all the time. It's why there's a lot of stuff that we see on Twitter. Somebody makes a misspeak, and then we jump all over them and say, oh, no, they seem like they're defending racism or something like that. Look, we all misspeak. And Brad misspoke in the last segment, talking about the cost of the Hope Scholarship Program, and he mentioned that the Hope Scholarship is giving $4,300 per person of public money for them to take with them to private school systems, and there are 3,000 people already there. And Brad had said, so that means $13,000. That was a mistake. He just misspoke. He was trying to talk off the top of his head here on the radio. But Craig, I appreciate your comment. Craig says, actually, that's $13 million. So that is a bit different. So I appreciate your text on that, Craig. Don't mind being corrected. Again, please understand, though, that all of us who do live conversation, whether it's politicians or talk show hosts, we will sometimes, just by dint of being human beings, make a mistake. 9:12 in the morning on the Watchdog Morning Show. Bob?
Howard, on all the current issues out there, I don't think I've heard you say anything about the proposed tax, what would you call it, getting rid of the income tax for West Virginians. To me, I'm in the stage of my life where that means something, because I don't want to, I'd always have to pay the state. Do you feel the same way, or it's not that big a deal for you?
Well, I wouldn't say it's not that big a deal for me. I think, as the legislature has felt over the last couple of years, the devil is in the details. How much money does it cost the state? How much money does the state lose in its budget in terms of providing basic services to the citizens? I mean, nobody likes to pay any taxes, but taxes fund our government. I think the government does an awful lot of stuff. I really want to see the details. Here's my concern. I think the governor is saying, oh, we got all this money, $1.3 billion surplus. But in my opinion, it's a manufactured surplus. He's been kind of manipulating things. I mean illegally, but he's been manipulating the way the budget numbers come out. And I think it's going to be, I don't think we're going to have that much money to play around with. And if we do, it's only because we have this federal money that's been here. We talked about that last hour. A lot of this federal money is going away. And that's not going to be with us forever. So, look, would I like to have an income tax cut? Sure, absolutely. But I also don't want it at the expense of programs to the government and to other people who need it. So I want to see the details of it. I want to see exactly, as Brad pointed out last hour, previously, I guess to the governor's credit, although nobody wanted to see this, previously the governor said, okay, I'm going to cut the income tax, but then to make up for the lost money, I'm going to increase the sales tax. Is he proposing that again? I don't know. I mean, to me, it's not as simple as saying would I like to not pay income tax. Also, the governor has made, his argument has been in the past, Bob, that, well, if we cut the income tax, people will come flooding into this state, because look at the states that don't have income tax. People just go to them like crazy. Like Florida. People go to Florida because they have no income tax. No, people go to Florida because
it's nice down there, Howard.
It's nice weather. They got good golf courses. That's exactly right. So I'm going to talk more about this tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get a better idea of what the plan is. I'm not opposed to it. I mean, I just want to know more of the details about it. And we'll try and get, I hopefully going to talk some more about that tomorrow with the legislative folks and see what they're thinking as well. So it's a really good point. Wheeling's Vice Mayor is going to join us coming up next. I want to talk about the homeless shelter proposal. There have been two, I don't know if they're different ones or two versions of the same one. I'm not exactly sure. Melissa Adams from the city's own homeless coordinator made a proposal for what she called a life hub a couple of months ago. She was with us to talk about that a lot on this show. And then this week, Northwood Health Systems wants to do a low barrier shelter on 19th Street. Is it the same thing, a version of the same thing? What does council think about it? The Vice Mayor will offer his thoughts to us coming up next here on the Watchdog Morning Show.
My name is Christine Gross. As a consultant for Metro News, I've been working with Bob Maxwell and his consultative business office team at Comax Business Systems for years. I'm not just an end user of their office products, like the BizHub copier system, but I also help Bob to gain new clients through his business development advertising campaigns. I believe that Comax Business Systems has the most knowledgeable staff providing superior customer service before, during, and after the sale. The Comax family of employees are just different. You will feel it when you talk with anyone who works there. From Vanessa, who takes your monthly ink inventory, to John, who can decipher and fix your printing errors in minutes. They're a family, and they treat everyone who interacts with them as family. It's always a pleasure doing business with Comax Business Systems. So reach out to one of their sales consultants at 888-483-7440 and see how they can make your business more cost-effective and efficient today.
Highland Sports Complex is the coolest destination for sports and entertainment the Ohio Valley has ever seen. Pop in for some open basketball in our field house or reserve some turf time for your next practice or game on our synthetic fields. Online registration is open for development classes and leagues for youth and adults. Highland Sports is also the hottest destination for birthday parties and other events. So come challenge yourself on our play climb and enjoy your favorite virtual reality game in the arcade. No memberships required, so visit highlandsports.com to find your next entertainment experience and get ready to reach new heights.
Want to generate more leads for your home improvement business? Menards offers contractors the opportunity to promote their services in our installer center. We encourage you to connect with our guests because we're your supplier, not your competitor. Contact one of our team members at any of your surrounding Menards store locations to inquire about the free program and get enrolled in our installer center today.
Save big money at Menards.
You're never more than 30 minutes away from local and regional news with ABC News every hour. Plus coverage from Ohio, West Virginia, and WGRF TV at 1/2 the hour here on The Watchdog.
We are compassionate.
We are focused.
We are confident.
We are dependable.
We are resilient.
We are skilled.
We are empathetic.
We are knowledgeable.
We are respectful.
We are here.
For you and your family.
We are close to home. We are
WVU Medicine.
Miss a part of the show? Want to hear a segment again? Check out our podcast page at watchdognetwork.com. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
#819 Watchdog Morning Show. Wheeling's Vice Mayor Chad Thalman is here with us this morning, going to talk about the homeless situation in the city of Wheeling and a couple of proposals that have come forth. Mr. Vice Mayor, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Morning, Howard. Thanks for having me.
Listen, I don't want to ask you to make an announcement. You haven't made an announcement, but I know a lot of people think that maybe when the mayor's term is up that you might have an interest in running for mayor, and I don't want you to comment on that, but I'm just wondering, with that in mind, did you kind of give a side eye to that kid who was pounding the gavel yesterday or this week, thinking that maybe he could be competition down the road, that 10-year-old boy?
Oh, absolutely, Howard. He did an outstanding job. I think he did an interview with Channel 7 and Channel 9. You know, I'm 40 years old, and sometimes I stutter through those interviews. He did an outstanding job.
He seemed like a pretty sharp kid, a really smart kid, and he pounded that gavel pretty good. I'm not sure. Do we have an age limit on running for mayor? I mean, could he run for mayor? Could he actually run? I don't know.
You know what, Howard, to be honest with you, I assume you have to be 18, but I really have no idea.
I don't know. You better check on that, because in case you decide to step up, he could be competition for you, sir. It's
no, he'd be tough for sure.
Hey, Chad, I'm having a hard time putting my head around these couple of proposals that we've had for low barrier shelters in the city of Wheeling. I never even heard of that phrase until the issue came up over the Wheeling Inn story, and then there was talk about it's being used informally as a low barrier shelter. Then Melissa Adams talked about a life hub, which would be a way to coordinate all of these efforts and have continual monitoring of homeless in some location. This week, Mark Games from Northwood was there talking about Northwood would like to have a stretch of property on 19th Street and open up what he called a pallet shelter, I guess, which would be 24-hour, 365 monitored for the homeless. Are these? I guess I'll just ask you, what's your general reaction to all this conversation?
Yeah, so we do have a homeless problem in the city of Wheeling. I think it's something that City Council's been aware of for a number of years. And Howard, roughly a year ago, City Council voted to create a new position, a homeless liaison position. It was a brand new position. It was a little bit controversial, the creation of it. I think it passed City Council 4-3. But there's no doubt in my mind that there's more we can do. There's more we should do. The city's just received, $29 million from the federal government. I think that the thing that we still have to figure out is how much should the city do? Exactly what is the city's role, and what is an appropriate amount of money to spend to help solve the homeless problem?
When the homeless coordinator position was created, I got to be honest, I wasn't quite sure how it was going to work, what it was going to do. I felt like Melissa Adams has done a pretty good job. My sense of it is, on the outside looking in, of sort of pulling everybody together and getting some consensus on some ideas and beginning to look forward. And it sounds as if some kind of a low barrier shelter with more monitoring of the homeless may be on the horizon. I mean, that's kind of, based on what I see as an outsider, that seems to be where we're heading.
Yeah, so my understanding is there's enough homeless shelters in the city of Wheeling that no one should be homeless. If you see someone sleeping in a tent city or on the riverbank, it's not because there isn't enough shelter in the city for the homeless. My understanding is the shelters we do have, a lot of them have rules. You might have to be in by a certain time, 10 o'clock at night or whatever it is. You have to try to get a job. You may have to pass drug tests. And the people that are currently homeless or for whatever reason are not following those rules. So my understanding is a low barrier shelter wouldn't have those rules. So right now, I think the police department they're a little bit hesitant to clear out some of these homeless camps because you're just displacing these individuals from one homeless camp to another homeless camp. So I think the idea of a low barrier shelter is if there's a homeless camp somewhere and the police are going to clear it out, all those individuals can be taken to the low barrier shelter. That's my understanding of one of the benefits to the proposed low barrier shelter.
As I understand it, the difference between the proposal that Melissa Adams made and the one that Mark Games made is, I don't know that Melissa specifically said the city would have to fund it, but she had a very high dollar figure attached to what she called the Life Hub, and my sense was that would be, to some extent, a city-funded facility. Northwood says they'll take on all the expense if you just give them the property.
That is my understanding, yeah. And I spoke to Melissa during the council meeting. I asked her a question, in light of this Northwood proposal, is the Life Hub still needed? And she responded that she thought it was still needed. So I think her idea behind the Life Hub is that not only would it be, some beds for the homeless individuals, but it would also be an area where all the organizations that provide services to the homeless can have an office. So you can have all your services in one location. That's my understanding of one of the benefits of the Life Hub.
Mark Games' proposal from Northwood this week was more, again, he called it, I think, a pallet shelter. It was more of a temporary permanent shelter. Does that make sense? That it would be there, it would be permanent, but also could be moved. It sounds like the Life Hub concept would be more of an actual physical structure of some kind. Again, I'm on the outside looking in, speculating, but that's what it sounds like to me. Chad, reading between the lines, and it's not a good thing to do, I openly admit that, I got the sense that Bob Herron is a little bit hesitant about this 19th Street location simply because it's right across from a piece of property you guys bought and hope to market down the road.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for Bob, but I can tell you I'm a little hesitant about that piece of location. I know the mayor and other members of council are also. And it's not just because there's a piece of property that we want to market right there, but the Elks Lodge is right next door to the proposed homeless location. And for years now, Representatives from the Elks Lodge have been approaching the mayor. I think I was involved in at least one of those conversations where they've offered to, to buy this piece of property. Can they lease this piece of property? I think for years now, the Elks have actually been cutting the grass and taking care of this piece of property, and they want to obtain it so they can have additional outdoor space. So that's something we have to look at. I don't want to, tell the Elks no, after you've been asking for years, you can't use this piece of property because we're going to put a homeless camp right next door to you. So I think we got to look at other sites and really kind of dig into the details of where's the best location for this.
So your opinion is that there may be a need for some kind of a low barrier shelter, but maybe this isn't the right location for it. And again, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I think that's what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, I would agree with Melissa Adams with Northwood that a low barrier shelter would help. I think we all appreciate the proposal Northwood came forward with. It's a very generous proposal. I think we'd be foolish not to consider it. From my understanding, Northwood would pay the entire $350,000 cost to build this, low barrier pallet shelters. The only thing they request from the city is to use the land for free or at a nominal amount of money. And then my understanding is House of Hagar would provide the 24-hour a day, 7-day a week, 365 days a year supervision of this site. So I think we'd be foolish not to consider it. My big reservation right now is the location.
I think that there's a need to really look more deeply into the details of how this whole thing would work. When we say the House of Hagar is going to monitor it, what does that mean? Is it going to be somebody physically in a building all day long there at that location? I mean, there's an awful, to me, listen, I am a huge believer that we have a critical problem with homelessness in this valley and in the city of Wheeling, and we have a responsibility to deal with it. I think we absolutely do, and I don't think it's enough to just move them from one location to another. But I think the council has to really look hard at this proposal or any proposal, but the details of it sounded so good. Mark Games made such a great presentation. It sounded so good. We'll take on the cost. We'll provide this. I feel like there's a lot more vetting of this project that needs to be done before anything can move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think anyone on city council knew about the proposal until it was presented at the council meeting. So we're still learning the details, and I think every member of council will put the time and effort in to figure out exactly, what Northwood's goals are, what Melissa wants to do, and what the residents around Wheeling want us to do.
So your feeling is that there's a lot more to know about the Northwood proposal, and the location may not be the best. What if Northwood came back and said, okay, we've got some other locations in mind? Now, I know they like that one because it's close to their own facility, and that makes some sense. But if they came back and found a different location, something might make more sense to you?
Yeah, I mean, right now my initial thought is I'd like to look at, explore the idea of finding a different location. That's my initial thought. There's really the presentation that was given to us at the council meeting, there's really no cost from the city other than letting them use city-owned property. So again, I think we'd be foolish not to seriously look at their proposal and take into consideration.
Yeah, but again, I think we need to know, I'm not telling you your job, but I think we need to know a little bit more about how exactly is this 365, 24-hour monitoring going to happen. The House of Hagar is kind of an informal Mother Jones type facility. Are they going to have a staff person hired to be there all day? Those are things I think really need to be ironed out. And liability issues probably are going to be a concern there as well. But again, you all know that as well as I do. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, appreciate your point on that, Chad. Anything else on the homeless thing you want to talk about?
No, Howard, nothing else comes to mind. If you have any thoughts, I'm happy to try to answer any questions you have, though.
Yeah, I think we've got to say, again, I just think there's a lot more that needs to be known about it. I think that it's exciting to me to see some serious talk about some major projects to deal with the homeless. I think that it's been sloughed off for a long, long time in the city. We just kind of move homeless from one place to another, and there are a lot of agencies that deal with it, don't get me wrong, but we don't have as much coordination as we should. And I'm excited to see there's a lot of more serious talk about dealing with some of this stuff. So I think it's a very positive sign, but I just think there needs to be a lot more discussion about it. Hey, Chad, what are you going to do with the rest of your American Rescue Plan money? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I think I did see something on the topic of homelessness. I did see something in the newspaper today about the bridge that was closed down. I think there was a homeless encampment underneath of it. There was a fire, and there was also an article in the newspaper about spending some of that rescue plan money on underground infrastructure. We have several neighborhoods in the city of Wheeling that, every time there's a hard rain, there's always a risk that people are going to get water in their basement. That's completely unacceptable in my mind. I know every other member of city council and the mayor would agree with that. So we're going to try to put some of the rescue plan funds towards helping to solve those flooding issues. A lot of that, there's a little bit of that in Warwood. I know a lot of it takes place in the Woodsdale section of Wheeling.
Yeah, and you had a big round of money handed out to several of the agencies, the West Banco Arena, Capitol Theater, Ogilvy and Wheeling Parks got a nice chunk of money from the American Rescue Plan. That's going to create a lot of a positive movement in the city of Wheeling, but I know you want to keep some of that money, I shouldn't say keep it, but you want to use some of that money for city needs as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's $1 million that we've approved for demolition, or at least should be coming on the council agenda for demolition. I think there's the rescue plan funds are heavily restricted, but I think we have some leeway with a little bit of the money. So I think we can put $1 million towards demolition. We might be able to put a little bit of money towards paving. So those are some of the issues that I know are important to members of council, and we'll seriously take a look at whether or not we can spend the money on those services.
Hey, Chad, since I have you on the line, what's happening with the Wheeling Inn? There was a public hearing supposedly scheduled. It was canceled. Is there some kind of movement going on, or are we just waiting for rescheduling? I know you were the lone no vote on that, and I, in retrospect, think you raised an awful lot of good questions. But what's happening with that? Do you know? You should know.
Yeah, my understanding is there's been numerous hearings scheduled, and for whatever reason, there's always a conflict and they need to be canceled. I think there was maybe one conflict with the Wheeling Inn, with their attorney. I think there's been numerous conflicts with members of council or city staff that couldn't attend. So it has been tricky. There's been numerous emails sent out. Does this date work for you? Does this date work for you? And it's been tricky to find a date and time that seems to work for everybody. I think that has been the biggest delay so far.
Is the Wheeling Inn closed? But after your initial vote, again, and you were a nay vote on it, but after the initial vote of council in declaring the public nuisance, has it been shut down since then? It is shut down now?
I believe it was shut down that day of the vote. I think I know the Wheeling Inn, I believe they had some employees that were staying there. I think those employees might have been allowed to stay, but as far as any paying guests, it has been shut down. My understanding is the day of the vote, everyone had to vacate the Wheeling Inn.
Chad, in that during the discussion on that vote, I thought you made a really good point, which is what's going to happen now is if it now becomes an empty facility with no activity, and I know that there was negative activity there, drug activity, other things. The police talked about that, but without some kind of plan for that location, the potential for it almost getting worse is there, I think, and I think that's the point you tried to make during the hearing or during the council meeting.
Yeah, I live in Warwood. Anytime I head out of Warwood, I drive right past the Wheeling Inn. I head to downtown almost 5 days a week. I drive past the Wheeling Inn all the time. There's no doubt in my mind that something else could go there. For years we've talked about maybe a visitor center or the Convention and Visitors Bureau going there or some welcome center. There's no doubt in my mind, especially right next to the suspension bridge, we could have something else there that might be a better fit. But the idea that we would shut down an existing business just to let the building sit there and rot without any type of a plan is something that is giving me concern.
Yeah, I think it's a legitimate point that you make. I do think that's a good question. Now, I keep hearing people on the social media, the rumor mill and so on, say that, well, the city's already got a plan for that. They've already got their plans for that made, and that's why they shut it down. You guys have some plan for that, secret plan already?
No, and frankly, that's my concern. There is no plan. So, we shut down an existing business that was paying taxes just to let the building sit there empty and rot. And I've heard people say, well, the city needs to force the owner to tear the building down. Well, my understanding is, the building might be ugly, but it's structurally sound. I don't believe the city can just go around, shutting down people's businesses and forcing them to tear down the building just because people don't want the building there anymore. So it is a concern, what's going to happen next. I don't think an abandoned, empty motel is any better than what we had several months ago when it was operating. Well,
again, I in retrospect, I've thought about a lot of what you said that night. I think you make an extremely pretty good point that Yeah, and an empty building might be even worse off than an empty and shuttered building might be worse than what we had there. So hopefully, if the public hearing ends up confirming that this is a public nuisance going to be shut down, hopefully some kind of game plan gets made. I don't mean by the city, but somebody steps in and does something with it, because and it's such a gateway, and it's right across from the new Doris Apartments, which it just. You want that part of the city, and the Bridge Tavern has already done some great upgrades there. You really want to make that a good gateway to the city, and that Wheeling Inn sitting there right now does not really serve that purpose.
Yeah, there's been a lot of private and public investment, really in that whole block. I mean, you look at $17 million going into the suspension bridge. You look at, what's probably going to be a $30 to $40 million streetscape project that's going to start right there. You look at the city working with WODA for the Dorsal Main project. You look at what the Carl family has done to the bridge. There's tens of millions of dollars that have been spent and will be spent in that area. I think the Wheeling Inn property is an important piece there. But how do we get to the point where a public entity or someone else obtains that property and builds something else there that might be more productive? Yeah, I'm not sure there's any type of a plan to get there.
All right, Chad, I appreciate your time this morning. Thanks a lot. Good conversation, and we'll do it again soon. You watch out for that 10-year-old kid, because if you run for mayor, that guy could be coming to get you.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. He'll be very tough competition, absolutely.
All right, Chad. Talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you being here today. Thanks. Chad Thalman, Wheeling's vice mayor. Hey, I'm not kidding, Bob. That 10-year-old kid could give him a good run. I didn't ask him. I wasn't going to ask him. There's a lot of speculation. It would be a logical step up to say he's been vice mayor for the last 8 years. He'd like to be mayor. He has never said that publicly. It's just an assumption that many people make. But I'm going to tell you, that 10-year-old kid could give him a run for his money.
He looked quite comfortable with the gavel in his hand.
He did. He did. I was like, yeah, no, this chair kind of fits me. Oh, I got this gavel here. No, I think that kid was good. I got to look into this. Is there an age limit for an elected city official?
I think so. I think it's either 21 or maybe 18, but you have to be a certain age.
I'd like to see that 10-year-old kid run and be his campaign manager.
Oh, boy.
We'd revisit an old slogan, Bob, that you came up with 20 years ago.
Uh-oh.
I'm not 90.
Yeah, for Mr. Heckler.
All right. Let's head to, thanks to Chad for being here. We kind of run over a number of different things, and that Wheeling Inn story is still hanging out there. I don't understand why they haven't had this public hearing. Council voted to make it a public nuisance, but then there needs to be a required follow-up public hearing before that is, I guess, verified or ratified or whatever word you want to use. And they had one scheduled, 2 months ago, I think it was, and they canceled it. Okay, all right. So, but, why has there not been one since then? What's going on with that? They need to move forward on shutting it down or not shutting it down. Again, they've shut it down, but after the public hearing, it would be official, and then figure out what's going to happen next. And I'm not saying the city should take over anything there, but then let's get an aggressive marketing campaign. Something's got to go in there. Bob, you and I have talked about it. There's some great things that could go into that location where the Wheeling Inn is.
Well, I don't agree with that. No, the building has to come down. I want to see the bridge. If we're going to do it right. Because the phrase that I love to hear is what you call it. It's the gateway to come downtown. Get rid of that.
I wasn't saying, when I said, I maybe phrased it wrong. I wasn't saying necessarily keep the building there, although I think the building is a more interesting building than the mayor made it out to be.
But you can't see the bridge.
I'm just saying, I agree with you. The location is what I'm talking about. That location has an awful lot of possibility. With a river overlook of some kind, again, a restaurant that would overlook the river. There has been talk, as the vice mayor just pointed out, of a museum of some kind or of a visitor center, something of that nature. But it's too good a location. It's literally right. It's the gateway to the city. It's right there on the corner of the river and the suspension bridge and the city's main street. There's a lot of potential there. Should be a lot of potential there.
Absolutely. And that would be what the northwest corner. You could put something really, really nice in there and then still have the bridge where you can actually see it. That would be open. That's my vision. I think that would be excellent. If you're going to save the bridge. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to dump all this money in the bridge one, if you can't use it, and two, if you can't see it.
Well, I think the bridge is going to be saved, but I'm not sure it's ever going to be open to traffic again. But I think the bridge will be saved. And that whole stretch now, what's nice is to see stretches at a time of the city getting improved. We have the Bridge Tavern has done a great job of improving itself. You know, with that great guitar sign, the inside is all renovated and nice, and they're putting apartments and things in the building. The Doris apartments are going up there, and that what used to be a parking lot, that's a WODA project. That's pretty good. Even, you know, the interstate, when they're done with the project, it'll be a better ramp getting into the city. So for heaven's sakes, let's find a way to make that a part of the improvements that are going on right there in that section of Wheeling. It's a great gateway to the city. All right, let's have a gateway to our Metro News newscast right now, over to the newsroom with Metro News. Then we'll check some sports for you. Head into the home stretch, and before you know it, Bob Westphal will be here, and Hoppy will take over. And then I'll get some breakfast because I'm hungry. It's the Watchdog Morning Show for a Thursday.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. State Police in Raleigh County have yet to release the name of the man who was shot and killed by troopers after stealing a vehicle. It happened just off the Bradley exit of US Route 19 near the Crossroads Mall Wednesday morning. The shooting was caught on cell phone video and shows the man holding a gun to his head several times as police chased him on foot. Troopers fired multiple shots as the man collapsed to the ground. Sheriff's deputies from Raleigh County also involved in that shooting. Bad weather may have played a role in the death of a boater along the Ohio River near Parkersburg. State DNR Captain Chris Lester says the man was on a boat that capsized near Newberry Island last Friday as thunderstorms moved in.
I think the weather and the visibility may have played into this also during that same time, which may have caused this incident to take place and happen.
The man's name has not been released, but Lester says he's from outside of West Virginia. Kanawha County Delegate Larry Pack says he's confident some form of the Hope Scholarship will survive after it was struck down by a judge Wednesday.
When you're fighting for educational freedom, when you're fighting for choice for parents, there's an expectation that judges, sometimes activist judges, will take a different position.
Kanawha County Circuit Judge Joanna Tabbert ruled the program was unconstitutional, saying it would take funding away from the public education system to help students leave and seek other opportunities. You can read full coverage at WVMetroNews.com. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Governor Jim Justice says his administration will pursue a 10% cut in the personal income tax.
As a result of our unbelievable economic growth, I am announcing that I will propose a 10% personal income tax cut as an aggregate. You will get the bill very, very soon. The legislature will get the bill very soon.
And Justice says he'll call the legislature into special session later this month to deal with that legislation. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
Summer is here at your Toyota dealer. Check out Toyota's wide range of hybrid vehicles with incredible MPGs, like a new RAV4 hybrid with available all-wheel drive and more cargo room than ever before. Or travel in style in a new Highlander hybrid with cutting-edge tech and plenty of space for the whole family. Visit buyatoyota.com, the official website for deals. But hurry, offers end August 1st. Reserve yours today. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey man, what can I get you?
Yeah, can I have 2 Coors Lights?
You got it. Hey Mike! I need 2 Coors Lights!
Sure thing.
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time. Here you go.
Thanks, Mike. Doing a great job. All right, 2 ice-cold Coors Lights.
That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Hey, they don't call it the world's most refreshing beer for nothing.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you really have the Rocky Mountains in your beer cooler?
You don't believe it? Check it out.
Man, that's pretty amazing.
I know, right? I can't believe it myself sometimes. I mean, this cooler is only 3 feet wide.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Once again, Toyota is the best resale value brand according to Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com. So stop waiting and check out a new Camry, available with all-wheel drive and a 24-valve V6 engine, delivering an impressive 301 horsepower. Or check out a stylish Venza with an all-hybrid powertrain and 40 miles per gallon. Visit buyatoyota.com and reserve yours today. Toyota, let's go places.
Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445.
Watch out! He could climb on his soapbox at any time. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Man, does that take me back. Theme from Love Story. That was one of the saddest movies ever, and all of us at the time who were of dating age took our dates to go see it. It was such a sad story. And somehow we thought, oh, this is great. Let's go and have a fun night out, going to the movies and watch this. And then they all cried, Bob. They just all cried.
Take me home.
Just enough older than you.
I want to go home.
I might be just enough older than you. Maybe you didn't take dates to that movie. I'm not sure, but
no, Howard, I was 8 when it came out.
Okay, I remember going to that. Really, one of my first high school love, you know. And Kathy and I went to and it was like, oh, weeping and crying. Yeah, this was a good choice. But it was a good movie. It was a great movie. Ryan, what was his name? The star of that?
Ryan O'Neal.
Alan McGraw and Ryan O'Neal. Alan McGraw and Ryan O'Neal. Love means never having to say you're sorry when your loved one is dying. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. But it was a good song. Came out the same year as The Godfather, maybe?
I think Love Story came out just a little bit before that.
Yeah, the timing doesn't seem right to me, but what's running through my head is the theme from Love Story, which is an instrumental theme, and the theme from The Godfather were both popular radio songs at the time. And so that's the way I conflate them. Anyway.
Speaking of themes, Howard,
we're gonna begin to tell the story of a love that never ends.
Howard, it was an instrumental. That means no singing.
And there were words to it. It just wasn't played.
Not that version.
Where do I begin to tell the story of a... All right.
And speaking of themes, we're going to change things up on Friday. We're going to have a little fun on Friday with themes.
Hey, we have, I think it's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to have, Bob has been doing a great job with different styles of bumper music. We've had country music and focusing on certain artists and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to do tomorrow, and I think maybe every Friday, for our bumper music, we're going to have old-time TV theme songs. I love those old-time, TV theme songs. I mean, I could sing. Well, I won't sing. Don't get me wrong. We'll play that version. Well, come to think of it, I might sing, Bob. But you and I both know probably dozens and dozens of them, right?
There's a lot of them. That's a good thing. Yeah, there are so many that you can just play new ones every Friday, and we'll have some fun. We'll bring back memories of the TV shows that we loved or hated from the old days.
Back in the day when TV was simpler and easier. Back in the days of Gilligan's Island and Beverly Hillbillies and Welcome Back, Kotter, and some of those things. So tomorrow, got a busy day tomorrow. Actually, we're going to have all TV theme song bumper music. It's a Friday, so we have the Friday Funnies, a little bit of laughter from the Friday Funnies. McCabe and I will kick around the Friday Roundtable, Ohio Valley News Week in Review. Lots of things we're going to talk about tomorrow on the Friday Roundtable. We'll be getting some legislative reaction to the Hope Scholarship ruling out of Charleston yesterday. Also, more lawmakers to talk about the governor's request for an income tax cut. We'll try to follow up on that tomorrow. So we've got a busy day tomorrow, the Watchdog Morning Show on a Friday. It's going to be really busy. And I got a couple other things I'm working on. I haven't finalized them yet, so I'm not sure that I'll have them. But got a couple of good things coming up. So it's going to be a very busy day tomorrow, but most importantly, a fun day. I'm looking forward to just hearing those old time theme songs. What are you going to start with, Bob? Have you decided yet?
Well, I haven't, Howard. I'm put a little thought into it. There's just so many. I'll get some input from you. I'm sure there's a couple of your old favorites that you wouldn't mind hearing.
Boy,
again.
the way Glenn Miller played.
That's probably the best
songs
one.
that made the hit parade. I'm sorry, what's that?
I said that's probably the
You don't
best
have to
one
sing.
there, Edith.
Oh, yeah. Guys like us, we had it made. Those were the days. Yeah, that's a great one. All the old Norman Lear theme songs were good. Maude, and then there's Maude, and the Jeffersons, Stepping On Up to the East Side. All Norman Lear songs, good stuff, just really good stuff. So we'll look forward to that. So tomorrow, again, Friday Funnies, Friday Roundtable, reaction to the Hope Scholarship ruling, reaction to the income tax proposal from the governor, old-time TV show bumper music, whoo, and Bob and I together. What more can you expect?
Yeah, and if you have any ideas you want to text in or give us a call, preferably on air, do that too. If there's one from your past you want to hear, we'll find it.
Yeah, if you have some old TV theme song ideas, just text me, 304-214-1600, or give Bob a call, because I know you won't talk to me, on the Frio Sac Auction Service hotline at 304-232-8255, which is exactly where we find the other Bob Westfall this morning. Good morning, Bob.
Greatest American hero.
Oh, that's a good one. Actually, that is a good one. Yeah.
Believe it or not.
I would never have thought about that, but yeah, that is a great song. Yeah, Greatest American Hero.
Yep.
For you, Bob, we're going to play
Got
that
that
tomorrow.
down there, Bob? Yeah, that's a good one. Yep. I just, whatever happened, Bob, whatever happened to TV theme songs the way we remember them from the old days?
Too much time. Yeah, you can't waste that time on it. You got to in and out. Let's go to a commercial.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, a couple bars of music or a couple tinkling the piano keys or something, and then that's it. I like those theme songs that told the whole story up front. Yeah, Gilligan's Island, all that kind of stuff.
How about Hill Street Blues?
Hill Street Blues, another good one. In fact, I was thinking, Bob, we ought to do a whole day of cop show theme songs.
Yeah, we'll just do Cops one Friday.
We did Dragnet and Hill Street Blues, and yeah, that's a good one. Another good one, Bob.
Mr. Lynch is suggesting the Wonder Years.
The Wonder Years, another good one. That's one. That's good. All right, that's good. I mean, we could do this forever. We could do it forever.
Well, we can't because we were born before television. So,
well,
we can go back to Dovey Gillis and start there.
Well, I remember listen, I may be old. I could play the old Shadow theme from the radio version of the Shadow or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the news. What are you working on today, Mr. Westfall?
All right. This morning in Steubenville, one particular gas station dropped gas prices to $2.38 a gallon.
Wow.
Kind of a protest to educate Americans about the rising costs and how it's affecting those of us, when it comes to paying our bills and things like that. It was the AFP. It was called the True Cost of Washington. So Ashley Kaiser was up there all morning. So we're going to have a report. We'll have something at noon, then I've got something a little later in the 6 o'clock. So a lot of people complaining. One group stepping up, just kind of educate people. I'm trying to think.
I will bet that, and actually we'll have the details. I'll bet they have pretty big lines around the gas pumps, right?
Oh, absolutely. I can't imagine. I thought about going up, but I probably would not have made it to work on time, so we're going to pass on that one. Americans for Prosperity was at the Steubenville Sunoco station. Just letting people know how much the gas is. $2.38 a gallon, and I'm told that is the price of a gallon of gas in January of 2021.
Okay.
So
interesting. Well, I'm not traveling to Steubenville for it, but if I'd known Ashley was going, I'd give her some gas cans. She could have filled them up, Bring them back.
There you go. Yeah, well, she's already on her way back, so we can't do that. So we'll have a little bit on that today. Other things we're working on, a little bit of an update on what's going on in Moundsville, a little bit on the municipal building. They're moving forward with that. I'm going to check in with the Four Seasons pool. A lot of things happening down there. So we're going to talk to City Manager Rick Healy here in about an hour. Let's see what else is cooking in Moundsville. A lot of things happening down there. So we'll get
That town is really moving along. I think Rick is a great city manager. He's done a great job. He's a good guy too. But boy, there's a lot of stuff happening in Moundsville, and that's good to hear.
So we're going to talk to Rick, see what's cooking down there. So we'll have that. We'll have that tonight at 6 as well. In light of the shootings that have happened, especially the ones in public, like the parade in the Chicago area on the 4th, I'm going to talk to Sheriff Lucas about maybe taking a little extra precaution when you're out. Kind of the situation that maybe we're in right now. Maybe just a little more protecting yourself. Talking about escape routes, talking about just protecting yourself when you're in events like that, because anything could happen, and not only shootings, but accidents and things like that. So we're going to talk to Sheriff Lucas about what you need to do, a little bit of taking some personal protection. So we'll deal with that as well. So we're going to talk to Dave Lucas in Belmont County about that here in a little bit.
Bob, that is a great story. I think it's a great story idea, and it's good to have that advice. And it is depressing to me that we have to talk about be prepared when you go to a parade that maybe, or when you're outside, maybe there could be a shooting. I don't disagree. It's good information. We need to have it. But how sad is it that these are the kind of things we have to talk about now?
Right. So we've got that. That kind of follows up for a talk yesterday with Bishop Montfort in the Siloam Diocese. What does he tell? We talked about this yesterday. What do you tell people when they see shootings like this, or Uvalde, or something like that? So it's kind of a follow-up to how to protect yourself. Speaking with the bishop, we're going to talk to him also about made a trip to Eastern Europe. One of the stops is Moldova, which is a border country with Ukraine. I'm going to talk to him about a little bit about the situation over there and what the Catholic Church is doing when it comes to relief and things like that. So we'll have an update on the situation in Eastern Europe as things continue. Breaking news a few minutes ago, Brittany Griner in Russia pled guilty. So we're kind of following up on that. I know it was just some breaking news a couple of minutes ago. I'm trying to get a little bit on that. But anyway, I think maybe, and we talked about this, John and I talked about this, it may be a way, if she pleads guilty, this might speed up the exchange process. Because, as you know, they've been talking about getting this Russian spy that we have in our custody. So maybe her pleading guilty is a way of moving forward. So we'll see. But that happened a few minutes ago. So we'll have an update. I'm sure the national news will have something, and then we'll have something as well. Here it is. So we'll have an update on that breaking news as well.
ABC will cover that for us right here, and you'll have more of it on Channel 7. People can watch everything today at noon, 5, 6, 10, 11, 5:30 for the statewide show. All of these stories and a great deal more, always at Channel 7, news, sports, and weather. And, of course, carry your Storm Tracker 7 app and the news app with you on your phone, and you're never away from all the news that you need. Bob, I got to run. Good talking to you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Bob Slider, I got to run. Good talking to you. I'll talk to you tomorrow, too. Well, I better ask you, are you are coming back tomorrow for TV theme song Friday, right?
I'll be here with the TV themes.
All right. We'll see you all tomorrow morning. Have a good day.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
Said that she was rushing to pack her things and unintentionally put cannabis cartridges in her luggage. Brittany Griner will give her testimony, her full testimony, at her next hearing on July 14th. The father of the alleged Highland Park, Illinois shooter says he had no idea his son was plotting something like this. Robert Cremo Jr. describing his thoughts to ABC News in an exclusive interview.
Just an upheaval of everything, emotions. I mean, it's numbing. I don't know how else to explain it. Like I'm in a bad dream right now.
Police say Robert Cremo III confessed to the shootings that left 7 people dead and said he thought about shooting another Independence Day gathering in Wisconsin after the Highland Park massacre. Cremo's father, Robert Cremo Jr., could face charges himself for sponsoring his son's firearm application when his son was underage. Following numerous scandals and a rash of resignations from members of his cabinet, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has announced his resignation.
I want you to know how sad I am to be giving up the best job in the world. But them's the breaks.
The most recent scandal involved the promotion of a party member who had been accused of sexual misconduct. ABC's Ian Pannell in London with more on resignations in Johnson's cabinet.
First 2 senior cabinet ministers, and that just really unleashed a torrent of resignations from government ministers, from aides, more than 50 in total, and his position became untenable. The writing was on the wall, and as we now know, Boris Johnson has stepped down, firstly as the leader of his political party, and eventually, of course, as Prime Minister.
While layoffs of the overall unemployment rate remain historically low, the Labor Department says 235,000 Americans applied for jobless benefits last week. You're listening to ABC News.
It's been a while